Hi, welcome to Thursday with a Friend. My name is Lawrence, Punk, or so many other, maybe good or bad names. Um, on this special episode at a special time of 10 p.m., because he literally just got done with his stream with Yojo Jerk over there. Um, Welcome my special guest, Toy Gaines himself. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for taking the time out because I'm sure you're probably like, I'm done talking. Why am I going to do another show?
Uh, listen, thought about that. We talked about this months ago, so I'm actually excited for this, Punk. Your channel has popped up in my feed for freaking ever. I watch your stuff, know your background. You're a character, and I'm a character as well. So this should be fun. This should be interesting, and I also want to thank you for having me on the show.
Oh no, seriously, I love it because again, this whole show is about bringing on people that have supported me in the community, whether it be through YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, just people in general, people that are in the chat. Like,
Yeah,
get to know who they are because people see us all the time, and not everyone is an open book.
no,
People are like, hey, what's their story? I used to see people in Geek That Life. I thought they were huge channels, and then you see them, and it's like, oh, you don't even really have a YouTube channel. Thanos,
right.
Thanos Copter was one of them. I thought, like, oh, he's a big YouTuber. No, man, he just does some crazy Instagram pictures. So,
Right.
thank you so much, and yeah, we'll talk. I had seen you before, but you you popped up with the Savage Crucibles because you
Oh
made
yeah.
a comment, and I was like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" But you know what? I think that's kind of how you and Jerk were saying, like
Oh
you
yeah.
guys kind of came together too. I'm like, "Fuck you!" Like I don't give a shit. Like
Yeah. Well,
these ankles are awful.
there's this, there's this thing with YouTube where there's got to be a line between busting balls and having fun with it and not jabbing at somebody. And it's hard to read that through a comment. You know what I mean?
You are absolutely 100% correct. I cannot agree with you anymore because sometimes, especially on Instagram, where you're trying to make a comment
Yeah.
and it's like this is going way off the rails. This is not what I
Yeah.
was trying to say, and I don't think it's what they're trying to say either. And
Sure.
then you send a message, and next thing you know, you're chatting and you're high fiving virtually and stuff like that.
Sure.
So
Yeah. And this is a male dominated sport. And,
unfortunately,
unfortunately, and us men, we can get, it's funny. If we were all together at a bar, it wouldn't be this way. But like I said, it's hard to distinguish what's busting balls and what's being a prick. So that's tough, and you gotta deal with that. You gotta navigate, comments and YouTube, and
yeah.
it could be a challenge.
It is, but it's fun. And some of the people that I've met through
Oh,
this, and then meeting them at Joe Fest, and even some of them at PowerCon.
mhm.
I made some of them, my best friends.
Sure, it's
And
instant kinship. Yeah,
yeah, and it's weird because I told my son for years, like, those aren't friends, those are people on the internet. And
hmm.
now all my friends are on the internet.
Well, listen, we have a connection through these little plastic things we call action figures, and
Yes.
immediately you're going to have a sort of a bond with someone, and then it could turn out to be an asshole. But initially, you're going to like them because they collect toys.
You're absolutely correct. Let's quickly say hi to the chat. And then we'll get into all about you because you're like,
Oh,
hey,
baby.
I really want to
Oh,
talk about myself. So quickly, we're gonna just start this off.
Here we go. Money talk. Here comes the money.
oh,
And Daredevil Dave sending a $4.99 super chat before the show even started, saying, "Let's start this thing off right. Come on, come all to the greatest toy show on earth." Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So we have Gun Bunny here. We have Menhoz as in the house.
wait.
Tony's Figs, who I know who is super excited about this. We have Tristan T saying, "Good day, all. I don't believe I've ever seen you here. So I don't know if you
He's in
came over
Australia.
from Jerk and Game. So thank you. GI Bro, who has the the best guns in the game. I don't know if you've seen him. He has the best guns in the community. We're
Yeah.
gonna find out next week because he's my guest. Matthew Matson, my first moderator. We have MCR who is here. We're gonna have Machine Man. I almost said Macho Man.
Oh.
Joe Fan 84. Beardy McBeardison, who's been a member for 5 months, and so now you're gonna get the
fucking Phil
Uh-oh.
Collins.
that's the new soundbite. The fucking Phil Collins.
What did Phil Collins do?
I'll tell you in a second. Derek Holloman. We have Dave Lane. I'm assuming came over from you. Okay, Derek Holloman here, who also gets a
Fucking Phil Collins.
Oh man, that hurts my heart. Hurts my soul.
Trick Murphy's Toy Solutions. We have, I know we have more here. Joker J must have come from you too. I love seeing new. I love seeing new faces, man.
It's very
Lunchbox
very
Killa. Yeah, it's great. I mean, that's what the community is supposed to be.
These motherfuckers,
Wraith,
they're gonna have me cry one night on a stream, dude.
Oh, you want me to get you to cry? Action Figs. J Mac has joined us.
Yes.
Kiwi GI Customs all the way from New Zealand. We have Drock 81 2000. I don't know if I'm saying that properly, but US Combat Dojo. We have Four Feathers saying, "What's up, Punk Toy Games?" Everybody
Four
pop in
Feather.
real quick to show some love. Thank you. I appreciate that. We have Keanu Leaves. I've been
That's
seeing that
name.
one, and I really love it.
That's the name of the business right now.
Some people got some wonderful names in this community. Lone Dragon is here. Okay, we hit the end. All right.
Perfect.
I
Nice
almost
crew
hit
in
the
there. Nice crew watching.
I almost hit the end stream.
Oh my god! That's it. Thanks for watching, guys.
And Grizzlehorn jumps in right here. Please hit that like button if you haven't yet. It's so hard for people to hit the like button on the lives. You ever notice that? Are there 100 people watching but 50 likes?
I can only equate it to tipping a bartender. If you like your bartender, I don't have nice tits or blonde hair, but say it's a dude that you might like that made your White Russian perfect. Tip that mother effer. The like is a tip.
I cannot speak for your tits, but I can tell you do not have blonde hair.
No, I don't have either. But if I was your bartender and I made you your perfect Red Bull and vodka or whatever, whiskey sour, you're going to leave a tip, right?
Yeah. Okay. So the fucking Phil Collins. Okay. So
yeah,
this all came up because I had Gaz on, right? So I had Gaz on, and we got talking, and somehow Phil Collins came up, and I was like, "Fucking Phil Collins." And he's like, "What?" And I was like, "So my daughter and I, we were listening to Disney music. We were listening to Disney music at dinner, and if you notice, for probably about 4 or 5 movies, Phil Collins was the only person that did Disney music.
That's
and
interesting.
I'm like, fucking Phil Collins. Not that I have a problem with his music or anything. I actually think he makes really good music. But I said, fucking Phil Collins. Now, my daughter, she's going to be 16 in, 10 days, 12 days.
Wow.
And I gave her permission that this is the only time that she can say fucking around me is fucking Phil Collins. So when he comes on the radio or whatever, not that she never swore again since then, but she has open reign to say fucking Phil Collins whenever it comes out. So it came up when Gaz was on, and then it just took on a whole life of its own. And it has nothing to do with it. But I'm just like, I hope it gets back to him. And this guy's like, what the fuck is this bald asshole keep calling me fucking Phil Collins? But again, everything is organic. I don't try. It's like it became organic that everyone in the crowd, everyone in the chat is just yelling fucking Phil Collins.
Fucking Phil Collins.
And so that's her voice saying fucking Phil Collins, and boom, it's here to stay.
I like
but
it.
And nothing against Phil Collins either, because the guy makes really good music, just like Billy Joel.
Well, Phil Collins, man, if you think about it, because he was in Genesis first, we're talking from 1980 to like 1998. He was on the radio every friggin' day. I mean, every day with a new album, new song. Disney music, films. Take a Look at Me Now, whatever the hell movie that was. He has been on the radio forever. Fucking Phil Collins.
And so Johnny Reno sent last week me it was Phil Collins' birthday. So he sends me just an Instagram saying Phil Collins' birthday, fucking Phil Collins. I send it over to my daughter, right?
Yeah.
You know what my daughter says? That's what he looks like.
It
didn't even dawn on me. She has no idea what he looks like because I grew up watching Hall & Oates and Billy Joel because my mom was watching VH1 or whatever, right? So we saw these videos. She doesn't see it, and again, she's watching. And when she hears it, she only hears it on the radio with me or when listening to Disney music. Well, anyway, that's where that whole story comes from.
Right. I like it. It's catchy.
Yeah, and again, it wasn't anything. It wasn't anything meant to be disrespectful. Just like fucking Phil Collins, he's in every fucking Disney movie. Like that's. But speaking of names, where does the name Toy Gaines come from?
Okay, there was a point in my life where working out was a major part of my life. It was like it would be Sunday, and if I was bored, I was going to the gym. So the idea was to cross connect. And listen, no one wants to get preached to or lectured on fitness, but if I could sneak in some tips to help people about fitness and toys, I figured why not? Be unique and different. I tore my bicep. Okay.
Ooh.
Tore my bicep. I used to be trash man, not even lifting weights, picking up a garbage can. Okay. I was feeling good. When it rains, it makes garbage cans heavier. I don't want to fucking talk about work, but it is what it is. I go to lift this garbage can, popped my bicep muscle, and I'm not a cardio guy, Punk. It's so boring.
It is awful. It is awful.
Yeah. It is never had to do cardio. So the working out thing, it just stopped. But Toy Gaines still had a ring because I'm still gaining toys. That hasn't stopped. As you can see behind me, I'm a freak. So it's fun. You could put anything you want in front of it. Bald Gaines, sex bot Gaines. There's a whole story with that. So Gaines it is.
Well, again, I think that you, me, Zakanin. Oh yeah, fuck Zakanin in his show. I heard what he said. Don't watch that fucking shit. Oh, wait a minute. You guys are here. I'm supposed to go over there and say that. And GI Bro, we could probably do a whole show talking about gym and gym etiquette because when I came into your show and you guys were talking about the powerhouse and people were like, wait, guys like try and dry their balls. Yes. If they have the blow dryer, they can pull off. And it's always someone that's over the age of 60 something.
Oh, it's not a good looking set of balls. It's not.
Oh, dude, no. I try not to look at them.
It is used up elephant man balls.
The one gym that I used to go to, a huge sauna, and it was like, why the fuck are you naked? I'm not naked. Right? Like at least bring a fucking towel in and wrap it around. Why? Who was like,
I don't get it, man. I used to like to use all them things: the sauna, the hot tub, the shower, because you're paying for it. You may as well use it. And if the sauna feels good, you sweat out alcohol. You sweat out a lot of toxins.
We got Bronzer. He's got to be coming from your channel, and here is the man himself.
There he is. For president.
He's a real friend. He's a real friend.
Bronzer's a real friend. That guy. Like I see him in real life. You know what I mean?
It's crazy. Like, and even where was it? He's saying, let's fucking go. I don't think people realize, because when you tell people, they're like, dude, guys don't sit around the naked. Guys don't sit around the locker room naked. And you're like, I don't. And people under the age of fucking 50 or 40 don't. And I'm 49, so I'm still never going to be that guy. Because no one wants to see it.
Punk,
no one.
I'm not saying this as a bit. I'm not a stand-up comedian. There's a man I saw more times naked at Gold's Gym than I did dressed. Like if I seen him at at Cumberland Farms, chances are he'd be fucking naked. That's how often I saw this man naked. Never saw him work out. So that, yeah, I mean, listen, you could delve into the psychology as to why, and if that's why, I guess they're beating the system. Because if I could spend all day in the women's locker room naked, it'd be fun, but I can't. You know, I guess.
And then
and it's all their can of worms.
See, then the truth is, it's like you think to yourself, well, if no one's in the locker room and I try this blow dryer thing on my balls,
Yeah.
what if I actually like it? And I'm like, fuck.
You would.
Now I know why they're sitting here.
I mean, come on.
You know, like, how is it they just don't realize there's other people that nobody really? And again, I don't want your fucking ball steam coming at me with a blow dryer.
I think if you've made it a certain age, you're just like, I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want.
I think we've all said I want to get to that age where I just don't give a fuck.
Yes, it's
And I'm
probably
close.
bliss.
Yeah, 49, I'm close, but action figure addict.
Hey man, great kid.
We have Pop Blender also jumping in here saying more beans than Frank. Something About Mary is a fucking awesome movie. All right,
I tell people, join the gym for a free membership for a month, and if you're not a gym person, that's fine. A lot of people aren't. Just to see the strange shit that goes on, it's free sitcom.
It's great people watching. Now, I know, again, as I've gotten older, I don't believe in making fun of people like on videos, but but watch in your head and you're like, what are you doing? Or when you look at someone and you're like, dude, you're going to fucking die. That is way too much weight for you. And there's no one in here hot enough. And I'm not saying there's not hot girls in here, but there's no one hot enough to die for.
Dying at the gym is not a good look.
You know, and my company, they gave us memberships to a gym, and I switched over to use Planet Fitness, which I've realized it's quickly going to run out of weight. I mean, 60 pounds is the highest on the dumbbells. That's not a lot.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, the massage chairs and the hydro massage is all worth it. Oh my gosh, dude. I'm just like, I've been trying to figure out which one do I want to do first and then go on to the next one, because I just want to be relaxed. And I think I finally got it. So after the gym, boom, that's what I'm doing. And, you know, I'm just going to add that in instead of cardio.
Well, listen, we better talk about something else. I don't want to leave this show being known as the fucking ball talker, okay? That guy Gaines.
All right, well,
he loves nuts.
Dude, if they tune into your show, they're going to hear it, all right? Like, it's not going to be because of this show.
Yeah, who the fuck am I kidding?
Okay, so how old are you?
I will be 49 on Valentine's Day, people.
Oh, so it's coming. Yeah, so you're coming right up there. Yeah, so only 2 months younger than me. Not even a month and a half.
Yep.
So I was born right before 1976.
Okay.
December 29th. So yeah, we're a month and a half apart. So we're in the exact same age bracket.
Nice. Same hair.
Hair. Well, you know, now is your hair gone, or do you actually have to shave it?
It's all patchy. It's like Phil Collins if I let it grow in, and I'm not rocking the Phil Collins.
Fucking Phil Collins. Well, hey, I gotta shave mine. I had a full head, but now you can see
you got a little more than me though.
Oh, I hate it though. I want it to go away. Like, just see, I have this bald spot, which
the Friar Tuck.
Yeah, like so I get the bald spot, but I still have to shave it. But when I have long hair, it's like, why can I see that perfect?
Sure.
You know, when I grow the hair, it seems like there's so much there. Yeah. Where were you born in?
I was born in a city called Newburgh, New York. If you Google it, you're going to see a lot of bad stuff, but there's some charm. It is like I'm glad I grew up here because I've seen so many things and it made me who I am. I got my ass kicked a bunch of times. I met some great people. It is what it is. And then I didn't meet my brother until I was 19. And he was from Jersey. We had different mothers. So when I met my brother, I took advantage of that and spent like 6 summers in New Jersey, which was just for a 19-year-old going to New Jersey, you know, Asbury Park, Long Branch, Seaside Heights was just fucking wonderful. So thank God I met him. And that kind of mixed it up for me because Newburgh was getting old. And the capital, yes, if you Google it, you will. There's a statue of me outside the mayor's office.
No, like this with the blow dryer?
Like, yeah, instead of the scale, I got 2 sets of balls. Newburgh is an interesting place. Very, every state has their city that's just known for like.
Oh yeah.
So it's no different, but it made me who I am, and I'm proud of who I am. I'm an okay guy.
You should be. If you're happy with who you are, you should be proud of everything that you've done, good and bad, right? It's led us to where we're at, and I used to tell people all the time, I like who I am. So everything that I've done, the bad, the biggest, the asshole that I was as a kid, it led me to be who I am now. To hopefully have taught my kids to be better than I was.
Yeah, the key, right? I think give me a high tolerance too. Like I there's a lot of different people, a lot of people that didn't agree with, but you learn to live and navigate around them. And I had a very fun childhood because of it too. It was a fun city to grow up in. It was like a big playground for me.
Yeah, I like that, and I like what you said about big playground. You learn to navigate around people. I grew up, skateboarders, right?
Dude.
There were people that didn't like us. They just didn't like us. Why? Because I don't know. We rode a skateboard and we were punk rockers. So
I used to skate as well, man. I went through a phase where like skateboarding was like I had to do it. And I think it's because of Gleaming the Cube. Who was in that? River Phoenix. Skateboarding came into my life and I loved it. And I would skateboard to the local convenience store to play Super Mario Brothers, and it blew my mind.
No, who the hell was in Gleaming the Cube?
I forget, but that movie, it wasn't very good, but it did.
No, it was awful. It did
come out at a time where skateboarding just was like in the culture. It was in the zeitgeist of Thrasher magazine and the Powell Peralta tapes and Santa Cruz tapes. Christian Slater. There you go.
I'm sorry, Christian Slater's best movie is still The Legend of Billie Jean.
That's a fun one.
Which was on every weekend. Every weekend, The Legend of Billie Jean was on. Don't mess with some kid's moped, or his sister will go balls out on you. So did you? I know you said you didn't meet your brother until he was 19. Did you have any other siblings that were?
I did not. I was, in my mind, an only child. Through my mother, I was. And I think if I can get into the psychology of it, she knew how important toys were to me when she would buy them for me, and as Santa.
Yeah,
and it was my outlet to. I had friends, of course. I wasn't like a recluse, but toys really helped me not have a sibling that lived with me. You know what I mean?
Okay, so no built-in play friend, obviously.
No.
Now, do you remember like the first toy? Not the first toys you fell in love with, but like the first toys you played with. I know.
I absolutely do, and I have a.
It seems like Adventure People, Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
What was the first toys you remember actually like playing with and having?
It was a perfect, I guess, symmetry. Is that the fucking word? Spider-Man would be on TV, the live action, and I had the Mego Spider-Man, and man, in love with it. I was a fucking weird kid. Took the cloth, you could take the clothes off of it, and I put it on my hamster to try to have like a spider ham situation going on. And my mom would yell at me, and I'm a kid torturing my fucking poor hamster. But definitely Mego was my first toy.
I'm trying to picture how you could even do that, because
I cut the arms and legs.
I hope you cut the arms and legs off of.
I'm gonna go to prison after this show.
You cut off the Mego and not off your hamster, right? Yes. You didn't cut the head and then like pop it in and like try and put the legs back on the hamster.
That fucker climbed that hamster climbed that couch dressed as Spider-Man. That was the pinnacle in his life. All right.
My oldest daughter, we had got her. She had like 3 different hamsters, right? And
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out how the hell. Because first off, Amigo isn't even close to the same size.
No, it's not. I took scissors. I cut the half. I made like a. I guess it would be like a skirt. You want me to do this in real time? I'll go buy a fucking hamster.
We would have to do a follow-up episode.
Yeah, we'll go to prison.
Because technically that would be Spider Hamster, right?
Absolutely.
Um,
Gee, that was brilliant. Head of the game. But yeah, Migo was my first action figure, without a doubt.
that and your hamster. What was your hamster's name?
Speedy.
Speedy. All right.
Yeah.
So I mean, come on, you got to put a name on it if you're dressing him up as.
Yeah. Well, I love Speedy Gonzalez too. Remember the racist?
Oh
mouth?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Mexican, of course. I
Yeah. So you could do the
accent. So what was the first toys like as a kid you fell in love with? I don't say toys you collected because hopefully you weren't collecting toys. Hopefully you were playing with them, or else you had a really shitty childhood.
Yeah, you're that weird. There was always a weird kid that wouldn't let you touch their toys. They had to be mint. Remember them kids?
Yes.
I did like Avenger People for that friggin' motorcycle in the canoe.
So I had the boat.
The boat was awesome too, and it had got the octopus. But
I don't remember. I had the boat, and then I had the little the yellow submarine.
That was awesome. And it had the sea diver.
Yes, I just found one of my figures because I only have one left. The guy in the yellow outfit.
Yeah,
Baywatch guy. But that boat was awesome because it had the wheel on the bottom, and then technically it floated till it sank.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But Punk, I mean, the toy line that made me a nut, where like I'm in the Sears catalog, I'm circling stuff. It's like the minute you get that Christmas catalog, you're circling stuff.
Yeah.
It was Star Wars. I mean, it was for our age group. Star Wars blew our minds, and it had vehicles, it had everything that was in the movie, but it was just amazing. So yeah.
Now let me ask you this about Star Wars because I've talked to a few people, and I find most people kind of feel like I am, except for the guys over like across the pond, guys in Australia who didn't see the movie. When you played Star Wars, did you have to just basically recreate the movies, or were you able to jump outside the box?
Oh,
Like, see, I was never able to. I always had to play exactly what the movie was.
that's
why when G.I. Joe came along,
yes.
it just changed everything.
Good point.
For many reasons.
I think you're right. You just opened like a memory hole because I remember getting the Dagobah set with Yoda and just replaying Luke getting trained by Yoda. Yeah. I love that scene. I love that set. So you could be correct there, man. That's a memory I didn't know I had.
You never had Han and Chewie at Dagobah, right?
Right. No, I never. Oh, you're right. Good point. I would never. What the hell is Chewie going to do in the freaking swamp? Get all caked up with mud and look like, pile of shit walking around? No. Good point. That's a very good point.
That's what I remember. Like, it just always felt, I don't remember ever doing, because I hated those mini vehicles because I'm like, they weren't in the movie.
Yes, with the weird, they look like steamrollers, little mini steamrollers.
Yeah, one was
a pavement on Mars.
Yeah, so it's like, I always had a hard time playing with I played with Star Wars, but when I look back at it, it was like, I always played the movies.
Yeah.
With G.I. Joe, I didn't play the comic. I didn't only play the comic or the show. Same with Transformers or Mask or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I was just wondering because
I think you're correct, man. But G.I. Joe, so it was waves, right? It was started with the Mego and the comic book craze, and then it went to Star Wars and the movie craze, and then for a brief moment it was Motu and the cartoon and getting Castle Grayskull. And then G.I. Joe, man, kicked its ass because G.I. Joe had it all. Had the cartoon, the colorful characters, the awesome kick-ass enemy, the play sets, the vehicles, and those damn commercials with them kids playing with. You'd be so jealous of them kids and them commercials, right?
Oh, yes. It took me, you know what? It took me till maybe 4 or 5 years ago when I was watching it and I go, oh, they play it in reverse. Like when they throw the figure down onto the peg, they play it in reverse.
Oh, okay.
Because
So look-
we were always trying to get in like you can make it, right? And then
Okay.
I'm watching. I'm like, oh shit! They do it in reverse. That's how they
Okay.
nail it right on it.
Yeah.
Because no kid could do that. No one could do that. All right.
No.
So if you're wondering, I was like, fuck, that's exactly how they did it. But you're right. Those commercials,
Oh,
like the vamp running through, and then you have the hiss, and then you see the Mobat. It's motorized, even though it's the slowest thing in the fucking world. They always left out like when the vamp was going, how much it squeaked.
yeah.
Everyone in your house.
Wake your mother up. I will say this about my collecting youth. When we grew up where our mothers would just drop us off in the toy section and go shopping, right? You'd be there for hours, and they would be off in the mall, or if you had a Zayre at the time, they'd be shopping for clothes, and you would just be in the toy section. I would look for stuff that was real cheap to kind of get my mother to buy. I knew on a whim I'm not getting the hovercraft or the whale. You know what I mean? But I might be able to get some $1.50 toy. And there was a line called Dragon Riders of the Six, which I thought was picture G.I. Joe with demons. It was
Dragon Riders of the Six.
Yes, it's like their G.I. Joe scale and everything is like demonic. It shouldn't, not an everyday toy that's on shelves. And so I was thrift shopping toys way before an Ollie's, obviously.
Wow, I've never seen these.
And I'll tell you what, the price of them has shot up through the roof because they weren't that common.
Yeah, oh my God, they're something else.
They're wacky. They're really weird, and they're G.I. Joe scale. So I would mix them in with Cobra and the Dreads to like have this offshoot weird enemy. And thrift shopping for toys was something that's always been like in my DNA, I guess.
Yeah, that was never for me. Like I had a couple Sergeant Rock figures. I never wanted the core figures. I really wish I would have gotten the A-Team figures.
Yeah.
I had some. I somehow acquired like the accessory packs, like the backpacks, because you remember they clicked over. I still have some. As a matter of fact, one of the mortars for that set is the exact same as Short Fuses, except for it's much chintzier. It's much chintzier. But I never did that, and I actually regret not getting that the A-Team tank.
Oh God, that thing was.
I remember seeing that at drugstores when I was at we'd be at my grandmother's and we'd go there.
Very fun.
Yeah, and it was always sitting there, and I never got it, which I regret it, but probably because it wasn't G.I. Joe, and I love the A-Team, but they didn't have the right guns, I wanted that A-Team gun. Now I look at them, I'm like, I want those. Them and their jumpsuits that they wear.
Well, what was that? Galoob, I think. They were a little wonky, but I had all that A-Team stuff.
Was it Matthew or Ed will tell us. I know Galoob made the Dukes of Hazzard and Chips.
Okay.
And they were the same body style. So
I mixed. So you just said I would never mix them in with Star Wars, not Chips or hell no. But I would mix them in with my Joes. So
no, and I was talking about this with someone else on one of these, and I go, I don't know if you know, I had the aircraft carrier as a kid.
Oh, whoa.
I don't know if you've ever heard this story before, but like the only two Star Wars vehicles I had was the Snow Speeder, which I still love to this day.
Hell yeah.
And then the Star Destroyer, which I didn't even realize was the Star Destroyer. But like if a friend came over with the X-Wing and they put it on the aircraft carrier, it was like, no, that it doesn't work. But I could get one of those $5 planes that would fit a G.I. Joe and put it on there and it was fine.
Okay.
But because that's the X-Wing. It doesn't belong here.
Yeah.
It belongs somewhere else.
Yeah.
So
I heard the shipwreck story. I heard that on the 24-hour stream that you let me be a part of. Yeah.
And thank you for joining that too. I
fun.
love that you guys jumped on. Ed is saying yes.
Glue.
Lube for A Team, Migo for Chips and Deuce. Oh, Migo. Okay.
Okay.
I thought. Either way, it doesn't matter.
So yeah, so that's
Ed-
my
Ed knows, I'm not-
beginning toys. That's what's let off the madness.
So, what other toys were you like? What other toys were you into? You said GI Joe. You said Motu, Transformers.
Yes, I did. So I don't. This is gonna sound crazy. I'm not making some claim where you're gonna put me in some goddamn history book because no one, at the end of the day, it doesn't freaking matter. I used to go to summer camp. My mom couldn't wait to get rid of me, and she put me in a summer camp. But you would sleep there. This camp had people from all over the world, and I really think I was one of the first freaking Americans to see a Transformer stateside because a kid from Japan, he brought this thing to play. You know, you could bring a few toys to play with.
Yeah.
You didn't want to bring a lot because you lose them. And I had a few Joes in my pocket, some Star Wars figures. He's manipulating this freaking cop car into a robot. And I'm like, what the fuck am I? Couldn't believe what I was looking at. And it was before the cartoon, and it was before any merchandise or even the GoBots. So, you know, take that for what you want. That I had to have a Transformer when they came out.
They were awesome. Like,
They were unique. They had metal parts that made them look like they were something. They weren't normal toys. They were something more like an adult's toy, if that makes any sense.
yeah, and I've recently been talking about this. I'm like, Transformers are never going anywhere because honestly, how like it's not hard to be like, okay, kids, what can we sell them? Well, here's a car. It also turns into a fucking robot.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a hard sell, right?
Right.
And it's gonna be really hard to be on that marketing team.
Right. And I think they were called like Diaclones or something before they
Yeah.
were Transformers,
They were
right?
Diaclones.
So that's what he had, and I'm telling you, blew my mind. I made
they
every
weren't hard to
transition.
transform either. They weren't hard to transform like they are now. Like
No,
God,
now you need the instructions right next to you, and that's not fun, in my opinion. I made them transitions: Motu, a little bit of Thundercats, Joes, and then the ninja craze of the mid to late 80s and the karate craze, where we all took a damn karate taekwondo class, right?
Kung Sudo.
Karate Kid. Oh, okay. So I took the fake. Karate is like exercise, basically.
It is.
Karate Kid, and then Ninja Turtles. Just something about the word ninja in a kid. It was like you could be doing homework or concentrating on something. You hear the word ninja, you're like a robot. Your eyes are locked on it. And Ninja Turtles took over my life for 5 years.
Now Turtles were at the end of. I was done playing with toys.
I was not. Go ahead. Yeah.
So, okay, so you're in elementary school. We go into middle school now.
Okay.
I find we were all still playing with toys, but we all hid it.
Yes.
And then now years later, we're like, shit, dude, we were all still playing with toys. So in middle school, were you still playing with toys? And were you kind of out in the open about it, or was it still kind of hidden?
It's funny you say that middle school thing because now we're supposed to be bigger kids and getting into girls. And of course, you're supposed to be playing football. And we like video games too. Video games got a little better with the Genesis, Super Nintendo, all that stuff. But I still appreciated the sculpt work, the advancements in toys. So I saw the next wave of Ninja Turtles, and they had this character called Wingnut. And I'm at the mall, and I got my $10 for the arcade and a slice of pizza and all that nonsense. I had to buy this Wingnut figure, and I wasn't going to play with it. I was going to just either leave it in the package or set it on the shelf. I had to have this thing. It looked like a work of art. It was like a Batman bat. It was like a mess. And I'm walking around the mall with a KB bag, and one of the older kids is like, he's going to bully me. He's like, what's in the bag? You're still playing with toys? This whole nonsense. And one of the biggest kids in 7th grade, he was like Mike Tyson in 7th grade. Stuck up for me and was like, leave him the fuck alone. Who gives a shit? I mean, he kind of made fun of me too, but he was like, who cares? And that dude kind of, I don't know, he opened my eyes to just being me and not hiding from it. And that guy's name was Edwin. And if I think I saw him like 15 years ago at a bar, and he was hammered, and I bought him a drink for that day.
I think a lot of us had people like that. Because again, as a skateboarder, we were going to get, and we had this one big guy, Zoran Stevanovic.
What a name.
Yeah, and he was big. I remember when he came over. He was so big that in 5th grade, like we'd all sit around and watch. Like when she would read a book, they let him sit in a chair. But one day the chair broke. But he owned a bingo hall, and his parents owned a bingo hall, and my grandmother used to play there. And she knew that he knew, and he told me this, but she also told me my grandmother 4'9", Mexican, 100% Mexican. God bless her heart. She's long gone, but she's fucking whoop anyone's ass in this fucking chat. All right. She fucking told him, "Don't you let anyone hurt my son or my grandson." And so he always,
cool.
always, and he was super cool. Like he was, again, one of the popular kids because of how big he was and the fact that he was. Dude, he got a fucking Viper for graduation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dodge Viper.
94. We graduated. He drove a Corvette, which was his brother's, while he was in high school. He got the Viper. The funniest thing was we'd see him driving around because we had graduated. He drove a minivan during the winter because you really can't drive a Viper because they didn't even have roofs at the time. That was the early stages. Anyway, but yeah, there's always that one kid, and I haven't thought about that in a while. Like, but no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're still playing with toys, which is awesome. Like Turtles, they were long. Like I didn't really know. They were
goofy too. If I'm being honest, they were goofy and ugly and weird. I just like I got into drawing and I loved how their colors popped. You know what I mean?
Okay. Because I remember in his home economics that some kid that I was sitting at the table with, he had the Turtles comic and it was the black and white comic.
Oh yeah.
And the cartoon had started, and he was like, "Oh, it's nothing like that." And I remember reading, like, "This is really cool, very violent."
Sure.
The art was completely different.
Yep.
But in the end, when you look at them, they're the same. They're the same iteration. Like they follow, the same story for the most part. And I always thought that was really cool, just because it was something different. And if someone looked at a comic like that, you weren't going to get picked on.
Yes. No, not at all. It was the cool kids comic, and I think because also there's a chance you can't become a fucking turtle man, obviously. There's a chance you could become a ninja. There's no chance of you becoming Spider-Man. So I think that's what people were drawn to it as well.
Flamingo said, "Watching how badass this makes me want to shave my fucking head."
If you're going bald and you're clinging on, the best thing you could do is shave that head. It's like you're set free. Now, if you have a gorgeous full head of hair, don't fucking shave it. But as soon as I shaved the hair, I started getting late again.
If you have a round head,
shave
it. If you have one of those weird square heads or awkward oval, like fuck, dude, get a wig or something if you're going bald. I don't like seriously. There are some people that are not meant to have shaved heads. I'm just saying.
I would agree, and that's a curse.
And don't be one of those pussies that won't use a razor. All right?
I'm one of them pussies.
Really?
Yeah.
You can't tell.
I buy extra, like they're called like a T-edger, and it gets it real tight.
Okay.
Yeah, we're bald bastards. Listen, thank God for Jason Statham and Bruce Willis for making being bald cool. Like 2007.
Sure wasn't Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll tell you that much.
No, lucky prick, yeah. Never. I think maybe when I got my driver's license and I really started getting women and I learned that there's something in between their legs that's fun, I may have stopped for a year or two.
Okay, so let's get into high school. So you go into high school.
Sure.
Are you still collecting? Now, this is where you kind of would buy. You didn't have my sister was 6 years younger, but I was a skateboarder. So we went to a Meyer, which is what we have here. Like it didn't matter. Like my friends weren't going to make fun of me. Some were Star Wars. We're skateboarders. We're already picked on, right? We're already the outcast. Were you still buying stuff? Were you still collecting?
No, and that's not because I didn't like them. I had a lot of Toy Biz stuff, like the Wolverine where you squeeze his legs and his claws go all wacky. I had everything, and there was nothing new. And I didn't really like Power Rangers. I think that was kind of what was on TV. I always attribute the way things look, and I never really liked the way Power Rangers looked.
Yeah,
And
except for the pink Power Ranger, she's hot.
well, that's much different scenario.
Amy Jo Johnson. It's the only one I know her name. Amy Jo Johnson.
Video games got fun, and
Okay.
girls got fun, but the minute Spawn came out, and I heard about this Todd McFarlane, and who the hell's Todd McFarlane? And he has there's this Image comic books, and I was like, what? I needed to be a part of it. It was big. It took over, and that's what got me right back in it. And I think that's 11th grade.
So were you collecting comics during this?
It was.
Okay.
I was a huge Spider-Man fan, the X-Men, Ninja Turtles, drawing comics. We made up our own game. It was like a little nerd culture. And what was fun for me, I like to work out, and I was on the wrestling team. So I could show people that you could be multi-layered and not just be pigeonholed into being a fucking nerd. It's like, sure. No, I love nerds. I love the dork with the pocket protector. I always loved them weirdos. I was drawn to them weirdos, but also would let them know that you don't just have to be that. You could be multi-layered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
No, and I find that a lot of the people that I talk to, you know, you go into middle school, and like I said, it seems like you kind of like, you're still playing with toys because you're still getting some, you still have them out. But they're kind of hidden, most people.
Yeah.
But a lot of people turn to the comics because either they're easier to hide, or no one really looks down because you're technically reading.
You're reading.
Like, oh yeah. I didn't know what an actual comic book store was for a long time. We went up to 7-Eleven or to Perry Drugs. I don't know if anyone had Perry Drugs, and you had the
best
that rack, right?
And
like none of my G.I. Joe comic books were bagged and boarded. They're in such bad shape, but I don't care because I would never sell them because that's what made me love G.I. Joe. Well, there's lots of stuff, but having like the old Thundercats, a couple of He-Man comics, Transformers. I never really looked at the superhero stuff. That's what's even crazier. I never looked at the superhero stuff.
Yeah, some people like things to be more grounded, and I could see that. But going to the corner store and seeing that spinner rack, you buy a Chocodile and a Little Hug juice and a comic book for $4. It made your weekend.
A Little Hug juice.
Yeah, little barrel.
Dude, that is what the name of those were.
Yeah, Little Hugs.
Oh my God, we used to go skateboarding. It was like the only thing that you could buy. We'd buy like a 12-pack. That's all you had money for. I can't imagine. Like we would skateboard all day. It's fucking hot as shit out. It's 90 degrees or whatever.
Yeah.
And we never drank water. We'd go buy that. All that is sugar water.
That's it.
How bad is that? I don't know how none of us didn't pass out. And like, but until you said the name, because I remember the jugs.
Yeah.
You said, I was like, that is the name of those. That and Bazooka Bubblegum, which was 3 cents. Then it went up to 5 cents.
Yeah.
I remember being pissed off.
Yeah.
It's not 3 cents anymore. It had the comic in it.
Yeah.
All right. So high school. What are you doing in high school? Did you start sports? Did you do anything like that?
I love to draw. I joined the wrestling team because I got my ass kicked. I loved basketball, but I wasn't good enough to join the team. I was a short Italian guy. You're not fucking in the city of Newburgh. You're not going to make the basketball team being 5'9" and Italian. But I loved it. Playing basketball can lead to a lot of fights. It's a physical sport, but it's not supposed to be. And I got the shit kicked out of me. Not like I didn't need to go to the hospital or anything. I didn't like the way it made me feel. It made me feel like, I don't know, man. Listen, you can get your ass kicked and it's fine. There's no shame in it. I didn't like it. I joined the wrestling team and I was good at it. I was naturally good at. There's fucking, you shoot the legs for a double leg takedown. And once I learned that, I did it in every fight for the rest of my life, and I never got my ass kicked again. And thank you, Coach Sabella and Coach Quilty, for helping me. Getting your ass kicked in high school it's just not fun.
Yeah. Ed said it best. Love Bazooka Joe. Love Bazooka
Oh,
Joe.
God, it was
3 minutes to flavor last. And then it just became super hard, but you would continue to chew it until your jaw was just sore as shit.
At least they gave you a little comic.
Yeah. Then you'd be all pissed off if you bought another one and you got the same comic.
Yeah.
It was like Laffy Taffy.
I wrestled. I played video games. We had Tecmo Bowl. I had a good neighborhood of fun kids, and we had the classic fat kid, but he was cool as shit. Mike Nicolini, the classic smart nerd, Tom Culver, the athlete. We called him Jock because he was naturally gifted. It's like Stand By Me, for Christ's sakes. Only we didn't see the Ed Brower dead kid by the train track. Wrestled, tried to meet girls. It was very awkward for me at first. Video games, comics. That was my high school. That was my high school years.
And so, what do you do with your toys? Are they just kind of put away?
It's played. I would have my favorites. It's funny. I made my first custom in high school. I took what's the dreadnought that comes with the monkey? They just released them.
Nagahide.
Yeah, I made him into a Wolverine with like toothpicks and shit, and I displayed him. I was so proud of it because he had yellow, and I gave him like the wings. I didn't hide from my toy collection. People would come over, and I think because I wrestled and I liked, rap music at the time was a big thing for me, and I still like. I wasn't afraid of most kids if they got into rap music would hide that they loved metal, or I would never do them things, and I think. Maybe because of my mother, like she taught me, like just be you.
Okay. No, I lost my train of thought.
That's fine. Now, the only thing that truly embarrassed me was for a while I was just so afraid to talk to girls, and they would talk to me, and you'd be on the wrestling team, and you'd have every once in a while you'd be lucky enough to have a freaking girl come watch wrestling. Nobody comes and watches wrestling. They all watch basketball and football.
Especially now.
Yes. So
today's completely different.
Oh, yeah.
No, I think that's what I was going to say. I think when you embrace what you do, you like. I loved skateboarding, right? So and I love punk rock. You can't make fun of me for it.
No.
Like, I'm sorry, I love doing it, and you can. Dude, no one does it anymore. I don't care. I go out there and I'm the fucking happiest I could be when I'm doing it.
Yeah, I saw you in that half pipe, man, or quarter pipe. It was really impressive.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, holy shit.
That was for 49. I haven't skated very much in the past year. I got to get back into it, but collecting toys is much easier than skateboarding.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah. So you're chasing tail.
Oh, yeah.
Playing with toys, or did you play with them or just collect them?
No.
I know Ed always played with his. Action Faces always played with his.
What I would do was I would use them to draw. You look at your favorite comic. That's a fucking funny comment. You would look at the comic. You would look at the figure. My favorite figure to have posed was that Max figure. It's like that purple guy with the yellow like single claw. The Max, that figure.
Okay, yeah.
I've had him pose somewhere from freaking 10th grade, 11th grade to now. I love that toy. So yeah, I didn't play with them, but I posed them, put them all over my room.
You still have that Max figure?
Yes.
See, I still have my first Spawn, the first Spawn figure that they came out with. He's sitting right over there. He actually is holding one of the G.I. Joe guns because I thought it looked perfect on him because it looks like what he would use in the comics. And it's just I'm missing the chain for the cape, which I hate, but oh well.
Oh man.
I mean, I could probably get one. As a matter of fact, I still have the hamburger head in package.
The chase
is pretty shitty. But no, I understand exactly. And I have an Iron Man figure back there that wasn't mine. My son, I've never seen a kid love one action figure so much. And it
Really?
was from Iron Man 1. It was technically supposed to be a 6-inch, but I think he's closer to like 5.5. I went through so many figures, and every now and then on Instagram, or not Instagram, on Facebook, it'll pop up like in my memories, me just having all the parts because I had to keep fucking rebuilding one. He probably went through 7 or 8 of them, and then when his mom and I split, he had to have one there and one here, and then I bought one extra to here and one extra for over there just in case if it broke, especially over there because I can't fix it. There is your backup. Do not play with it until it's time. But so I said I'll always have one. Just because
Punk, I got a question for you, and I guess in chat as well. Now, you talk about why I stopped playing with toys. Now, video games get into this 3D age with the PlayStation 1 and the Nintendo 64. And a sort of a way, that's the next evolution of playing with a toy. And it's not physical, obviously, but you're manipulating something on a screen, and it's sort of took over that feeling of playing with a toy. And I think that's why video games I was drawn so much to them. The art, a model, it's somewhat similar. You're making a 3D render and a 3D model to put into a game and not put into a mold for plastic. You know what I mean?
So after my ex and I split up, it drives me nuts even now that my son, he wants to play video games all the time. He's 18.
Yeah.
But one day I was watching him play Fortnite, and he's showing me all this stuff, and he's building stuff. And it was like that revelation. I was like, how is this any different than me playing G.I. Joe?
Sure.
Other than his knees aren't going to hurt when he's 40 or 50 from being. But he's building stuff up.
Absolutely.
Creating stuff. And it was no different than me sitting there for G.I. Joe, other than it was going to take me a lot longer to do it because we're trying to stand the figures. I remember I used to take string and I make laser wire. So that was like a force field. So there'd be a laser wire so a plane couldn't fly through it. There was no difference. And the cleanup was way easier.
Yeah, Minecraft, man, is pure imagination.
Yeah.
Willy Wonka.
Yeah. So what you're saying is like dead on. Although I never thought of it like that. It was the Minecraft, but you're absolutely right. Like it was the next evolution, but everyone did it. Like you weren't really looked down upon if you played games. Now, if that's all you did, if that's all you did, you might get
the problem. And I still had the balance. I would still skateboard, play basketball, wrestle, play video games, try and get laid. It was always a nice circle of life.
Now, Bobby Wolf says, I don't think today's kids have the same type of entertainment we had growing up, like Star Wars and all the cartoons. My daughter loved He-Man, and so she was stealing my collection. They have too much.
I agree. Things peak. Entertainment peaks. If you look at that transition from Star Wars to He-Man and G.I. Joe, there's no place to go but down. And now I'm sure Power Rangers fans will disagree.
Yep.
And Power Rangers is a part of a peak in a valley because what has been out since Power Rangers, maybe Harry Potter. If you think of like an original Western series, everything seems to be coming from the East with like Dragon Ball. So things peak. Yeah. No,
and again, I think there's just too much now. But everyone says toy collecting is done when our generation dies off. I'm like, no, it's not, because you know what? Our kids, when they get older, if they get into collecting, they'll want Fortnite toys.
Yes.
They may not want G.I. Joe. They might not want He-Man and stuff like that, but they're going to want Fortnite.
There'll be something.
As much as I hate it, they're going to want Star Wars, this new last trilogy, which is awful. Yeah. I don't want to get into it, or maybe Harry Potter. Like, they're going to want this stuff in toy form if that's what they want to collect. Yeah, you're right. G.I. Joe, He-Man, and, they won't know what Mask is, just like no one knows what Jason and World Warriors are today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Way underrated.
I don't know why people worry so much about where, like, if collecting ended right now, I'd be bummed. My life wouldn't be as complete, but you would survive. Everyone
Yeah.
is so into like, oh, it's going to end in 10 years. Oh, it's 20. This is the last generation. Just enjoy the ride. Whatever happens, happens. I'm sure toys will be around forever. They've had since Tin Toys and Howdy Doody and the
Exactly.
40s. So, right.
I can remember the late 90s, and I thought skateboarding cannot evolve any more than what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they've tapped out on tricks.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tony Hawk Pro Skater comes out.
Yeah.
And you see these tricks, these combos, and you laugh about it.
Yeah.
And here we are in 2025. And I'm watching them do these things that we laughed at. Like, there's no way someone could do a rail that long or do 4 different tricks. Like, they're doing it. So
Sure.
there's always going to be something else to come along. And you're right. Why do you worry about it right now? Like, I'm not worried about that. Like,
Right.
Maybe the kids don't want that. Maybe they just look at collecting old video games, nostalgic video games, stuff like that. But yeah, I think I do think people worry too much about like what's going to happen. What's going to happen?
I always want to talk about the end of this, the end of life, the end of the, I don't want to talk about the end. I want to talk about how much fun I'm having now. And I like to talk about the past as well, because that is what got me to the now.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with. I think there's nothing wrong with looking at the past and your toys that you had.
Sure.
But don't tell me that I used to buy G.I. Joes for under $3. Awesome. You could buy a brand new Dodge Ram for under $10,000.
Yeah.
Go into the dealership and throw a fit like you do on Facebook. All right, they're going to tell you to leave. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No one seems to look at that, right? Don't tell me that a figure costs $25 when you spent $3, on a 20-ounce of pop, right? Like, all right, seriously, dude, come on. All right, so high school comes.
Yeah.
You graduate. Do you go on to college, or do you go right into the workforce? First off, did you graduate?
I graduated.
Okay.
I did graduate, not on stage, in summer school. I
Okay.
actually did figure out how to meet girls, and that completely messed up high school for me, because I was up all night. And my high school had something called open campus, where you can go home for your free period. And I would go home with a girl and just not come back. So let's stop with, I don't want to talk about my cocksmith days. After high school, and I've never told the story because no one have asked, but I'm not going to hide from it. I joined the Air Force, and I can make up any excuse in the world. But at the end of the day, I was so homesick and I wasn't man enough to stay there. And I don't know if I could say I regret it, because I'm with my wife. The woman I'm with now is who I met when I left the Air Force. So I don't know. I don't know if it was the right move or the wrong move. So
I never joined the military. I have so much respect for them.
Yeah.
And the truth is, I know that I don't think I could sit there and take orders from people.
I couldn't, Punk. I was
You
such
know?
a. And
there's nothing wrong with that, because
structure's nice.
do something that make us be able to do what we do here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that stint ended. I got out of it with no dishonorable discharge, just an entry-level discharge. I come back home pretty directionless, and I finally got a job that was decent. And you know what I started hunting? Powers of the Force figures. Yep. I went on a bender, man. They were at every CVS. They were like $2. I was like, oh my God. Luke Skywalker. I didn't care that he was all jacked. I was getting them for like $1.50, $2.
I can remember when my buddy showed up in '95 with Han Solo and Chewbacca.
Yeah.
And we went to every Kmart, every Toys R Us.
Yeah.
All you could really find was those figures. I think it was Luke and Han, actually. But the Millennium Falcon was there and the X-Wing were there.
Those were the same molds for the most part, so they were cool.
Oh, yeah. I love the figures. Last year, we're going to be doing it again this year. But last year, because of some other YouTuber was whining about people reviewing old toys, Allison Troy was like, She's very vindictive. Don't get on her bad side. I love Allison. It came about that we should just review the Power of the Force figures. They're all jacked, and so I coordinated it to have one review every single day through the month of May and we did Power of the Force. So it's called May the Power of the Force. Yeah. So this year we're going to do the same thing, and I believe we're going to be reviewing the prequel figures, 3-inch, nice. The 4-inch prequel figures. No. I wanted I didn't want to be like, okay, we're going to do Mythic Legions. I'm not asking someone to go spend $55 on a figure. Well, you can still get them for $10. And I was just like, it's just fun. If you want to do it like your normal style, do it like your normal style. If maybe this is your first time doing a video, awesome. You want to just have fucking fun, because this is what we're supposed to be doing, right? Just having fun. What
a novel concept. So those powers of the Force, and now this is where I told you. Now I meet my brother, right? And my brother, who at first wanted to kick my ass because he thought I had this beautiful home life, and me and Dad were throwing the football back and forth to one another. No, Dad was always in jail. He was an alcoholic. I loved the man to death. I had a good relationship with him. Wasn't a typical home life. So me and my brother connected because he loves Star Wars. Now he's taking me to all these comic shops in Jersey. Jersey was flooded with TRUs, comic book shops. And the thing we connected with was that when that damn episode 1 trailer, say what you will about episode 1.
I love episode 1.
The trailer was so goddamn good. If you watch that trailer right now, you will get goosebumps. The score, what they show in the trailer, you can debate how the quality of the film. The trailer was amazing. The toys were really well done, and it was a movement again. It was all over again. And now I'm doing it with a brother as an adult, and it was pretty damn magical. And Star Wars will do that. You can say whatever you want about the franchise now. It's powerful stuff, as you're wearing a fucking Yoda shirt. Yoda's fucking cool as shit. It's really something special. And those episode 1, they had a midnight release at Toys R Us too, which is, I don't think they've done it since.
No, they did them for all. They did it for all the prequels.
Yeah, fun stuff, man.
Yeah, we saw episode 1 3 times, day 1 in the movie theater.
Yeah,
which sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So you get to that third one, and you're like, "Fuck, we're never doing this again." But you're committed. What was fun was during like the second showing.
Yeah,
we were there like 6 a.m.
Yeah,
I remember the second showing. We're sitting in line. And I'm like, I cannot believe they killed off Obi-Wan Kenobi. And now I know people haven't seen it, and they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like, oh, dude, I'm so sorry, dude. And like, they can't kill him. I'm like, I don't know what they're gonna do, but
I don't know how they did it. Yeah,
you're watching these faces drop, and you're just like, oh, this is awesome. I love episode 1. I've talked about it before. Jar Jar is really the only bad thing in it.
He is pretty damn.
And he's bad.
Someone just mentioned he's pretty terrible. Once he starts calming down and he has less to do, he's fine. He's a mess. When you first meet him, he's a mess. Less Jar Jar. Each of the 3 needs a little less of something. Episode 2 needs less of fucking.
I hate episode 2.
Anakin in the talking about sand, and he's on those dates, these pointless dates. But overall, I still like them. They have a certain visual quality that's different than anything else in the franchise. So,
when someone says they hate pod racing, I'm like, how can you?
Oh, pod racing was amazing.
It is so much fun. And then when you see the extended version,
where
there's like an extra 5 or 10 minutes,
I'm
like, why didn't you leave this in?
Because the sound effects alone in the pod racing scene, are nuts. Yeah.
If you have a nice sound system and you just sit down and you turn it on, I don't understand people hate it. I mean, there's a little fucking kid that is fucking blowing by everyone, and then you have Sabobo, and then you have Tusken Raiders shooting at them.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I love the pod racing, and yet people hate it, and I'm like, fuck you. Like, Matthew says, "I
He's right,
skipped
though.
the Padme Anakin scenes from
No,
episode 2, and it's much
he's
better."
absolutely. It drags the movie down, and I get it. They needed to show why he was so in love that it you know, when she passed, pissed him off so much he felt like everything, ruined his life. I get it, but it just weren't done well.
You just have to watch when the only part you have to watch with that is when he tells that he killed them all,
Yeah,
the women and the children. Like, oh, all right, dude. Like, all
yeah.
right. And then everyone shot. What?
Mace Windu cutting off Jango Fett's head is pretty badass, though, man.
And did you know that if you watch it in the shadow, his head comes out of it.
Oh, that's incredible. I don't think
they talked about it and said there is a shadow that's supposed to represent his head. That's why when he picks up the helmet.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
I'm sorry. Would you pick up the helmet and be like, "Oh, there's your head, Dad"?
Oh, yeah, it's the guy's head. So there's some things, man. Obviously, they're not brilliant films, but they, like I said, gave me and my brother memories together that we instantly caught up.
But isn't that what it's all about? I mean, that's truly what this is about. Like, I think about the stuff that I've done with my daughter or my son, and they're gonna have they're gonna look back at something and just be like, "Wow, I remember doing this with my dad."
Yeah.
My son, when he was in high school and my daughter was still in middle school, their school was on the same property, but I had like 40 minutes before I could drop her off. So we go to Walmart and toy hunt, even though we weren't going to find anything. And then one day we came across Miss Pac-Man and we played one game of Miss Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Until the one day she comes around the corner and it was gone. And if she was here right now, she'd probably be storming and bitching about it. She's not.
Yeah.
I'm actually disappointed because she loves Takis.
Oh, baby.
We got to talk about that because I don't know the whole story with that. But all right, so anyway, you get your discharge from the Air Force.
Sure.
Now, how did you meet your girlfriend who became your wife?
Through a friend. So as soon as I got home, my friend is dating a girl, and we did a double date thing, and we met and we hit it off. And now we did break up for a few years, but we rekindled 15 years ago.
You rekindled that flame?
Rekindled, baby. If you want to talk toy history again, I think there's a gap, and then Toy Biz Marvel Legends sparked it all again. And I forget what the first figure was, but seeing Toy Biz Marvel Legends in that clear clamshell package with a big diorama piece and a comic book blew my fucking mind for $10.
Tristan T says, in Django's defense, he'd just been trampled, and you see he goes to his jetpack, and it just puffs black smoke. Hence why Windu got him. I never really thought about that, but it is true. He's supposed to be this badass Jedi, and he waited for him to get trampled by roughly a rhinoceros. So when you met her, and you said you guys broke up, but how did she handle?
Loved it. She went on toy hunts with me.
Okay.
My room, my bedroom. I still did live with my mom at the time. I was helping her pay rent. I had this huge room upstairs in the city of Newburgh, beautiful apartment near Washington headquarters, historic Washington headquarters. This apartment is probably like from late 1800s, but a beautiful brick building. My entire room had boxed Powers of the Force because they weren't that great of figures, but they looked fun in the package, with the thumbtack on the wall covered. And then I had little play sets like, Jabba's Palace. I had the pod racing scene hung up on fishing wire, and she comes over and she loved it. She thought it was fun to look at. And I was like, she's pretty. She has big tits, and she doesn't mind that I collect toys. And we would go on these toy hunts and comic book shops everywhere, CVS's, Kmart's, Toys R Us's in Jersey. There's a place called St. Mark's Comics in Brooklyn that was open almost all night. So or in the Village rather. St. Mark's Comics in the Village. We would go there like on a whim on a Friday. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Was it like one of those where people just hung out there and the owner?
St. Mark's Comics, great place. I think I found like a Dewback there from like the 70s, man. Blew my mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, does she collect anything, or does she just enjoy?
You know what she's collecting, man? Them little like miniature bar sets and plants. They're like in balls, and you open the capsule and you put together little tiny like. So that's what
she has some sort of collecting in her. Where
yes, but she knows if two of us collect, the house will be nuts. So she knows. She knows she can.
What's wrong with that?
No, I mean I would love to have a shelf covering every square inch in this place.
That's what my house is becoming. But I'm a single guy. I can do whatever I want. Like
that is the advantage. Now I was single and I did have some. One girl did say to me, "You're a great guy. You're handsome. You got a good job, but you need to drop the toys." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Sure." Never called her again.
You can't tell somebody what. I've said before, if I start dating someone, or it's like you don't have to understand.
Yeah.
Why I love collecting, why I love skateboarding.
Yeah.
You don't have to understand it. You just have to accept that it makes me happy.
Sure.
Just like if you do like if she does something that I don't understand, it makes you happy. Awesome. Go do it.
It's perceived as like an immaturity thing, which couldn't be further from the truth, because one of the biggest Star Wars collectors on the planet is a successful lawyer, I believe. It's a woman. She's loaded, or she's a doctor, and she's the biggest freaking Star Wars collector, like on the East Coast. So she's proof that, she's, I'm not a doctor. I'm a freaking Taki salesman, but just goes to show everyone collects. There's all walks of life collect these things.
No, it's true. But I think now with athletes being into it and stuff.
Sure.
And then obviously the Iron Man movies and the Marvel movies, it's changed the perception of what collecting is.
Yeah.
Nobody looks at it now. Well, not saying nobody, but most people don't look at it as something awful. But the same with skateboarding. Like, people don't think too much about skateboarding. Like, oh, wow, you still skateboard at 49. Some people my age might, because they're like, aren't you worried? Like, well, aren't you worried if you go play basketball? Or beer league hockey. I mean, seriously,
I almost tore my groin playing beer league softball.
Yeah, it can happen. I'm sorry, I'm not skating vert ramps and doing big 12-step handrails and jumping stuff like that anymore. Those days have passed because my knees would give out.
Yeah.
Derek says, lots of pro wrestlers are into collecting.
Sure. Don't you see these things as like, now it's not the statue of David. That's some timeless sculpture, but isn't this a miniature sculpture at the end of the day?
Well, according to Todd, it sure is.
Yeah.
I think the boobs should have been bigger, but
all right. How about Weird Al? It's a miniature sculpture of Weird Al.
That is awesome.
Right? Now I love Weird Al. I love his music my whole life. To be able to hold and manipulate and see Weird Al on my shelf, there's a little magic in that. And
UHF is a wonderful movie.
Oh my God. It's so good. The Twinkie hot dog, man. Ever eat that?
I did not.
No, I don't recommend it.
Don't you know the Dewey Decimal System? And then he cuts the guy in half.
That movie is so damn good, man.
So funny story. I had never seen any of the Indiana Jones movies.
Now, still?
I've seen one now because we watched it.
Don't say Crystal Skull.
No. We watched. Was it Raiders of the Lost Ark? The one that whichever one they mock in UHF.
Yeah, the first one. Yeah.
So we watched it for Punks on Film for the Streamathon. Now, I mean, I've caught parts of it, and I've seen and I know what it's about. I did not realize that they recreated it almost to a T.
Oh, for UHF. Hell
But
yeah.
I also have you ever seen the movie the Kentucky Fried Movie?
Yep.
I
That's
didn't
another
realize.
mismatch of like, making fun of spoof movie.
Yes, I did not realize that Fistful of Yen
Mm-hmm.
is Enter the Dragon. So you watch Fistful of Yen, and then you go watch, I believe it's Enter the Dragon. It's not Fist of Fury. It's
Yeah.
Enter the Dragon.
Yeah.
It is like, I was like, holy shit. I didn't realize that they pretty much recreate that whole
Yeah.
scene. But no, that's actually really cool.
So wait, did you like? We got a question. Did you like Indiana Jones, or do you get it? Did you understand?
I think because, and I don't know why I never watched it, because I love Star Wars. I love those types of movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think it came, and then I just never watched it. So when I watched it now, I was just like, eh.
Okay.
I can see why people like it,
Mhm.
but I think my time for enjoying it is over, because there's a
Okay.
lot of campiness in it that nowadays. The Goonies was the same way. I had never seen the Goonies. We
Yeah.
watched it for Punks on Film, and I
Yeah.
was like, it's not that good.
Really?
People
That's
love it. But if I would have watched it in the 80s, I might
Yeah.
feel completely different. Because how many of these movies do you watch?
Yeah.
Like I caught the end of your show, Commando.
Yeah.
Do people love Commando now? No, but it is awesome.
No, it's great.
All right.
Yeah.
But people probably look at it and goes, he threw a pipe through the guy. He ripped the pipe off.
Yeah.
Which any of us as an adult knows, like, they don't rip off like that, for one thing.
No.
Although this guy, he did carry a
Dude was he was a unit.
tree on his shoulder.
Yeah, he was a unit. Arnold was a unit.
Yeah. No, so yeah, it just didn't, like, I don't know. It didn't do anything for me, but again, I think it's just because I'm an adult and I'm looking at it completely different.
Yeah.
But I've watched some other movies. Like I'd never seen The Godfather for the longest time, and then
Me
I
neither.
saw
And I'm Italian. That's supposedly, gets you put in Italian prison somewhere. I didn't see that until like 5 years ago. Godfather.
and then that was one of the movies I was like, shit, dude,
Yeah.
how did I not watch this?
It is good.
Then you watch the second one, and then everyone told me not to watch the third one. I didn't watch it for the longest time, and then I watched it and I went, that was a waste of time.
It was bad. It was bad.
And the Joker says, "No Goonies, no indie." Oh boy,
Don't
I'm not saying-
Ghostbusters next.
and I fully understand why people like them.
Yeah.
I fully understand why people like them, but I think the time has come and gone that they just weren't going to entertain me. Indiana Jones probably should have, but it was just like,
Okay.
take it or leave it. So, good day, lads. Late to the party, and on screen there's a couple of those extra heads from these two.
I mean, we got this.
Should
Should have wore a hat.
All right, so you come back,
Yeah.
you start dating your future wife, but not straight
Yeah.
through. Matthew says, unsub punk, you didn't live in the 80s. I lived in the 80s, all right? I bring up Midnight Madness, and no one knows what Midnight Madness is. All right? All right, so what did you do for work? Did you just get right into the job?
I was a typical warehouse schlep.
Okay.
Everywhere from there was a place called CNS, Service Merchandise Warehouse.
Oh, I love service merchandise.
And then I worked in a Oreo cookie warehouse for the most part. And then I got my CDL through Pepsi. And that really is, it really is the poor man's college degree, the CDL. It opens up windows, opens up doors rather, and you will always get a decent paycheck when you have a CDL. And that driving for Pepsi when I was younger was a shit ton of fun. Then I actually drove for Snapple. It's a young man's job, though. A lot of slinging heavy things. You do get paid well. And then I drove a garbage truck. And I don't know. The union stuff really pissed me off. And
I had
driving. What's that?
I had a friend
Yeah.
He was a hothead.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
and he worked at the garbage truck company here. And I just remember from another friend that was a mechanic there was like, yeah, dude, he got in a fucking fight with the other driver in the cab.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Like, throwing fists, and I was like, oh, Jay, yeah, I can fully see. Total hothead.
Plus, Punk, you're waking up at 3 a.m. and you. I don't care if you go to one time. I went to bed at 6 p.m. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to bed at 6 and get this 9 hours of sleep. If you wake up at 3 a.m., you are always going to be tired, and if you're always tired, you're always miserable. So I had to get out, and for the past few years now, I've been working for a company that owns Takis, and they own Entenmann's. Decent job, good pay. It affords me to buy toys and have weekends off to spend with my family. So
on a serious note, during working, doing trash, what the fuck, I can't.
Sanitation is the technical term. Yeah.
Being a garbage man.
Yeah.
How many times did you have to kill Secret Service, or not Secret Service, but Special Forces guys?
And throw them in the back.
Like you commanded.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I miss you. Don't worry, we won't.
Never. But you know what did happen?
You didn't pull Uzis out of the back and just start
going fun like that. And then the other movie that captures sanitation workers completely false is Men at Work with Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen. They like pick up trash and go on like a 3-hour break and go pick up trash again. Like, you stink like shit. You are not hanging out drinking a beer. You are going straight home, immediately taking a shower. And they had a lot of fun in that movie. And picking up trash is never fun. I mean, never.
I can't imagine it, because I see the people that come through here, and some of them are real happy, and you got to make the best of what you do. Right?
But you do get off work early. That's the key. You go in early, get out early, and
but if you're waking up at 3 a.m, what's the first thing you want to do? You're gonna shower and then you're gonna want to crash, right?
You do. I was miserable. I'm not gonna lie. I liked the people I worked with. You know what I did like about it, and I'm not trying to sound like some big tough guy. It is one of the hardest jobs in the fucking world. Okay, in the snow and 0-degree weather, it takes, what did mankind say? Testicular fortitude, right?
Testicular fortitude.
Yes. Okay. It takes a certain type of guy to be able to do that shit, man. And then I thought I was going to quit after like a week, and I didn't. And I did it for 6 years, and I'm proud of myself, man. At the end of that work day, you fucking worked and you earned a paycheck. It wasn't easy. The coolest thing that happened was, when you're doing recycling, it's much easier. It's cleaner. It's all plastic. You would sometimes see like people throw away baseball cards that weren't worth shit, and you would go through the binder. I found a binder of Pokemon cards, and I sold that binder on eBay for $1,000. So that was a fun day.
So do you think Duke the Dumpster Drozy represented you guys well?
No. Is that
wrestler?
That's the wrestler. That was the era where everybody
the trash can
working man gimmick, right? Remember that era of everybody was like,
the goon,
the hockey guy, the goon.
Then every time he walked, like you could see like those poor boots like shaky back and forth because they were supposed to represent ice skates.
No, he didn't. I have nothing respect for them guys, though. Them guys, it's not easy work.
I hate when someone
Repo Man. That's what somebody just brought up.
Oh, they're the Repo Man. That was one of Demolition. I hate when I see somebody that I graduated with or I went to school with, and let's say they work at like a Taco Bell or a Tim Hortons, and they're like, they get shy and they're like, and they're like, oh, I'm in between jobs. I'm like, who cares? You're working, right?
Sure.
You're working, dude. You don't ever be fucking ashamed of what you're doing. Maybe it's not where you wanted to be,
Yeah.
but take pride in the ownership of what you're doing, because
Sure.
if you have to raise your kids and the only job you can get is McDonald's because you got to walk to work, then
Yeah.
God bless you. Just please
Sure.
don't fuck up my order. That's all I'm asking. But you don't want me to fuck up your copy machine either, so I don't want to. And you can tell it's a tough job.
Sure.
It's cold out. I mean,
Oh my God.
sorry guys, not all of us live in Florida or California.
I don't even know if I want, like, the heat is just as bad as the cold. You die out there.
Yeah, well, see, I will take 100 degrees over the 10 degrees.
Yeah.
But I'm also not around stinky fucking garbage.
Dude.
I can only imagine how bad.
You get used to the smell. I know that sounds insane. You get used to the maggots. The only thing I didn't get used to was when it was pouring rain, because once you get wet, you just want to go home. And then you get some idiot who wants to. You get guys who we call them Spider-Man because they stick to the truck. They don't want to get off the truck. It's like, dude, come on. When the truck stops, let's get this fucking trash in the thing. Keep it moving. Get the day over with.
But, all right. So you said you and your eventual wife split up.
Yep.
What did you do during that time? Were you still collecting? Was there anything specific you were into?
So Toy Biz eventually gave way to Marvel Legends, and I didn't need them because I had so many. I was Marveled out. I was superheroed out. And then Mezco and NECA were at Toys R Us. They had a specific section specifically for what we call now adult collectibles. There was no name for it, but it really was movie figures and figures tailored.
Mezco there?
Pardon? Yeah, Mezco would make like these goofy Scarface figures, like not cloth goods.
Yeah.
Really stylized, weird looking Scarface and like Biggie Smalls.
Because I do remember seeing the Super 7 stuff that was up there.
Yes. And the first thing NECA had at Toys R Us was like Tron or something too. I bought that. Yeah. So the adult figures, this is 2007 now. TRU specifically had a section. This wasn't for kids. Alien figures, Predator, Commando, Rocky was hitting shelves 2006, 2007, 2008, and I bought all of it. Even the goofy Mezco stuff that was, like I said, more stylized, but it was cool to see like Scarface in a toy package at Toys R Us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, let me call for my son to grab my dog really quick.
Yeah. Okay. Got the peanut butter going?
All right. Hold on. All right. The dog will sit here and whimper around me rather than going to someone
Okay.
who can let him out. I'm like, I'm not letting you out right now. You'll go hours, obviously, when I'm not home.
Yeah.
But I can get on this thing, and he's like, "Hey, I'm right here." Like,
What are you doing?
We all hear you whimpering. So what did you like? Like, how long did you just kind of continue until you ended up where you're at now? Like, because I know this. I know you do Takis, but I have no idea. I didn't even know what Takis were until a year ago.
Yeah.
So how long before you got into this?
Mm-hmm.
And had you already started redating your wife?
So we started redating in 2011.
Okay.
Prior to that, I was, man whore, going to the gym like a, maniac, getting in shape to.
I love man whore.
Being a man whore was fun. I'm not gonna lie, and I like to get in shape because I did like to. If I went hiking, right, I wasn't the guy that would just walk up the hill and like, oh, this was fun. I was doing like Rambo nonsense, like trying to climb my way to the top of the. And I was using, muscle for function. So I had a lot of fun with working out, playing outside mountain biking, and taking toys up there. I would bring the Rambo figure from NECA up there and take pictures of him.
Okay.
I had a lot of fun in my 30s, as every man should, in my opinion. I think that's where I found myself, and I became more confident and really didn't give a shit about collecting toys and still being I think, figure photography now is all over the place, right? My first picture of a toy I put on like MySpace in like 2007. People are like, "What the fuck?" Mostly girls, and sometimes douchebag guys. Oh, still a kid. Why don't you grow up? Just stupid comments. I didn't care. I was having fun. I knew who I was as a person. I was going to work. I wasn't asking anyone for shit. So I'm going to do the things that make me happy. And that's the way, as long as you're not hurting anyone, is what we all say. And that's true.
No, I'm with you 100%. Like, you're not hurting anyone.
Sure.
Paying your bills.
Yeah.
I look at what I do. I collect toys. I ride a skateboard. I still work out. Punk rocker.
Yeah.
But I'm as far as being immature and unresponsible as possible.
Me too, man.
For instance, the same place for 23 years.
Yeah.
You're 24 years in October.
Right.
I'll be there at least a quarter of a century. I'm not going anywhere.
Right. That's the key to the if you're collecting and it's stress. I see a lot of content creators, and they make these vlogs or video logs where they're stressed out and they got to quit and they got to sell. If collecting is you got to make a 20-minute video where you're stressed out about buying toys, just fucking stop. Just stop.
Yeah.
And the toys will be there. Okay. In 10 years from now, if you missed out on 20, 25 top Marvel Legends, they might even be cheaper, and you never know. Just get your life together.
It might be a new one that's better.
Right. Put it on the back burner. You shouldn't be making videos about stress from collecting toys.
No, and this is an expensive hobby.
Sure.
And then I've told people, like, okay, $25, that's what a figure costs.
Sure.
But if you say, hey, you know what? $25 to me, it is just not worth it. Or if you can't afford $25, there's no shame in it.
No.
There's no shame. Again, don't be someone who buys a $25 figure, swaps it out, puts some $5 piece of shit back, and takes it back.
That's a real fucking
scumbag. You're a piece of shit. If you're watching the show right now, just fucking leave. I don't want to.
I think you can get into some big fucking trouble. If they really cared, you can get in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
I think it's not fraud or price, some weird fucking law. Maybe that's a New York thing.
Yeah. But again, it's like if $25 to you is too expensive, or you can't afford $25 a figure, there is nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with saying that. Because $25 is expensive. A 4-figure is $100. I mean, come on, dude. I've said before, I lucked into this. I had never planned on making money. Or being monetized. I just started like comparing the O-ring figures to the new G.I. Joes that I got. Yeah. And then somebody brought it up. Too. Yeah, and somebody brought it up. Yeah. And then I got monetized. If I wasn't monetized and I wasn't making money, I could not buy as much as I do now.
Yeah, I have what's called the circle of life, where if I haven't, granted, I love picking up a toy from years ago and enjoying it. But if that toy doesn't give you joy anymore, or it's in a bin somewhere, sell it. Sell it and put that money towards something that you will like,
And like for me, I see those people that turn around and they're flipping, they flip their stuff. I have a hard time selling my stuff because everything that I buy, I buy because I want it. I don't buy because it's what's new and hot. And if that's what you do, that's cool. I don't care.
Yeah. But I get a lot of that. Like, I collect so much stuff, Punk, and I'm like, why the hell did I need 7 Do I need 7 Batman figures? Like, no.
Yeah, see, like I'm not like that. Yeah. But I will say this: what you're saying about if it's sitting in a bin, I started doing these classic O-ring videos. Shit, dude, they get like 100, 200 views if lucky. Mm-hmm. But sitting there and just looking at them, going over everything, seeing the detail now as an adult, changes your perspective on it. And it's just another nice way to be able to pull that thing off my shelf and look at everything.
Mhm.
And I know as soon as I get past like series 1, the detail gets so much better. So
Sure.
now I'll probably be getting even more into it, especially with the vehicles. I was
Yeah.
looking at the Mobat because I'm going to be doing the Mobat in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So I pull it up here and I'm looking. I'm like, there's little trays on here that have like tools on it and stuff. I'm like, this is awesome. Like
Yeah.
they put so much, and you don't see this stuff as a kid.
No.
You're just fucking playing with it, hoping the crotch doesn't break and you don't snap the thumb off.
Yeah. Oh God.
So you reconnect with your now wife.
Yep.
Do you guys have kids?
We have a daughter.
Okay. So how long before you guys were, or how long were you guys together before you had your daughter?
2 years.
Okay.
No. Or 3 years. 3 years.
All right, so how do you mind me asking how old she is?
She'll be 11 the day after my birthday, the 15th.
Okay. Name and social security number.
Okay, it is. Hold on. This is all for. This is how you get this collection by.
Believe me, I when I was buying stuff, I kept telling my daughter, I'm like, you get every female figure.
Yeah.
And then she started realizing, like, that's not really fair. I'm like, well, don't worry, Andrew doesn't want anything anyway. So you guys figure out. I'm gonna be dead. I don't care. I'm like, I told my kids, I go, you can do whatever you want with my collection.
Yeah.
You want to sell it? It means something to me. It doesn't mean anything to you. Then sell it. All I ask is that you do not get ripped off. Do not give the aircraft carrier away for $50.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Do not say, hey, I have this G.I. Joe collection, $200, just come get it. No,
Yeah.
don't. Find somebody that I trusted that will
Yeah.
will get your money because you'll be able to pay for a lot of shit.
Absolutely.
So when you got back together, your wife she loves the collecting, right? She's like, cool, you're still doing this. That's awesome. She was all down for that and everything.
Punk, I think, and I'm speaking, I am not speaking for her. I think she at the time when we met, I was built like fucking Rambo, for Christ's sakes, first of all. And she was working out too. So that helped. And I think she liked that. Here a gym rat that still liked the things that made him happy to begin with. Star Wars, Transformers. So when she saw that, I think she was still happy about that. And most guys that collect toys, we're not like loudmouth assholes that are like, I never bust her balls. And I think a part of that is I'm always worried about my toys and having fun.
What toy community are you part of?
Well, that's funny you say that. That is. Those are the guys that don't get laid. No, I still, and I'm a fucking clown, man. Like I want to just laugh. My goal every day is to eat something I like, fucking laugh, and not take life too serious. And this is some advice for anyone single out there. I guess you, Punk, you can't take this shit too serious, man, because life could really suck. So always be negative is not going to get you fucking laid at the end of the day. You could be as good looking as you want to be, go to the gym, but if you're a negative person and constantly looking at the negative things, it's not attractive.
If you're always looking at what you don't have rather than what you do.
Sure.
I used to tell my ex this all the time.
Yeah.
You're always telling me what we don't have.
Yeah.
We have healthy kids.
Yeah.
We have a roof over our head.
Yeah.
We have jobs. There's food on the table.
You're right.
Some days we struggle. Sometimes we struggle, but never to the point where, oh my God, where are we going to live? Like we never had this problem. So start looking at what you have. And I think that was probably some of the reason why, we didn't work out. There's other reasons, like,
I'll
get into it.
I don't want to get you pissed off, Larry.
It doesn't piss me off. It doesn't piss me off.
She's been a godsend, man, and she has a good gig. She makes decent money. So we do things like down the middle. As long as I give my half of the bills, I can buy whatever the F I want. As long as we have some money for a vacation, and we don't really live outside our means. And also, I'm not one of them guys. I have inexpensive, like you said, toys are expensive, but you know what else is expensive? Like playing golf, boating,
Yeah.
ATVs, hunting. That shit is expensive too. So
Skateboarding.
skateboarding,
Boards all the time.
almost any hobby out there is expensive.
Is
No
Matt,
steroids, not yet.
no steroids tonight, so we should be good. So
No,
when Viper Island pissed me off,
yeah,
I was on steroids, not enhancing steroids, but
for
prednisone. And
the
if you've ever been on prednisone,
Yeah.
and I just
the mood that fucks with your mood. Yeah, was that for an
Yeah.
injury?
what
Was that for an injury or for like asthma or something? What was it for?
I had inflammation.
Okay,
Tennis elbow. Fuck, I'm a fucking mess.
Yeah.
Like we all are at almost 50. Like,
yeah.
If I woke up,
Steroids should be
I woke up
legal.
feeling 100% tomorrow, I'd assume I'm dead.
Yeah,
So yeah, there's been a couple. Well, now there was one time I was on steroids, and everything had mounted by Monday, and just to say everything
Laid out.
to the point that everyone remembers it,
Okay,
and everyone brings it up. Like we want you on steroids again. Again, here's GI Bro coming in. Did someone say steroids?
I think steroids are illegal, man. I think you should be able to just buy them over the counter like weed is.
I have said before that steroids, you should be able to go to your doctor
Yeah,
and say, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Because then they can test you and be like, well, you shouldn't do this because of your heart,
Yeah.
but we're going to put you on this.
yeah.
People find a way to abuse it no matter what.
You can get a test enhancer, but you still need something a little more.
Yeah.
Red faced and all.
Yeah, I don't think that one's up right now. Once this whole copyright strike is done, all of them will come back up.
Nice.
So, but I got another to the end of this month. This fucking copyright strike bullshit. All right, so you and your wife, you have a kid.
Yep.
How is she? Is she into this? Does she
No.
enjoy it, or does she just look at you and just shake her head?
I tried like hell. The closest we've come to having a cartoon to toy moment was a cartoon called Adventure Time, which I used to love. The first 3 seasons of Adventure Time are trippy, funny, adventurous, for lack of a better term. And there was a toy line for it. And I was like, yes, okay, she's not a boy, and that's fine. It's my daughter, and I love her to death, but she's got a little bit of that toy hunt in her. And it phased out. But at the positive of it is she doesn't like Barbie. She doesn't like Monster High. She loved video games, and she only likes like 3 video games. So I have been able to save a shit ton of money on not buying her toys. So there is that positive.
I've always said that collectors should not have kids.
No, if you have a
Yes.
kid that also is a collector, you're going to be in for it.
But-
I got
but-
lucky. She loves Minecraft and Roblox and Animal Crossing, and that's it.
And my oldest, I remember there was these. They were only at Walgreens, and they were the Care Bears, and there was I think 9 or 10 of them, and we
Yeah.
had all but one. And I searched all over for the last one, and my ex was like, she doesn't care. I'm like, that's not the point. The
You just
point
need to
is
find
there
it.
are 10. She has 9. She needs one more. I never found it. I'm sure those Care Bears are in the trash somewhere.
Right.
It still bothers me to this day.
It was about the hunt. And she did like, I forget what they were, but I'm kind of, like I said, I'm kind of glad that we're not all toy maniacs because it would be expensive. And I can be selfish. That's one of my faults
It
is I want everybody to have fun around me, but I want to kind of have the most fun.
No, if you would have told me that my daughter would be more like me than my son, I would have been like,
Yeah.
no way. She's
Yeah.
the one who wants to spend time with me.
Yeah.
She'll go to any toy store, and she's gonna be 16, so it's not like she's still,
Yeah.
preteen or anything.
Yeah.
To the point where everyone knows who she is. Everybody wants Thursday with a daughter. That's like
Right.
everyone is, and I think we're gonna do it. It's still one of those things where I'm like, we know how some people can be, and I don't want I'm not using my daughter as a shield.
Sure.
She comes in, you hear her voice. And she'll come in and,
Yeah.
we were on Clubhouse, 10 people, 10 guys.
Yeah.
The day that TikTok got shut down.
Yeah.
And she fucking stopped everyone for about 10 minutes ranting about TikTok being off. Watching 10 guys just sit there and listen to someone behind me just go off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? She voluntarily comes in here. I think we're going to do it as long as she wants to do it.
Nice.
And I think that, I know how people can be, but I think that the people that are in my community here that have supported me, like if they saw someone saying something negative, they would jump all over them.
Yeah.
Because you just don't do that shit, right?
No.
I'm not bringing my daughter on to be my shield.
No, it's fucking.
It's that she enjoys doing shit like this.
Well, when I started my channel for toys, my daughter coincidentally, she asked me, if I don't show my face, because she was only like 9 at the time, she wanted to do these Roblox edits where you take your avatar from the game and somehow you edit the character into a video. I was like, yeah, sure, you can do it. I watched what her name was and all this stuff. She was like, Daddy, do you have a video that has this many views? And I was thinking it was gonna have like 3,000 or something. Had like 15,000 views. She was busting my balls. I was like, no, I don't. But how the hell did you do this?
Did you tell her, you know what? No more of this. You're done.
Yeah, you delete this channel. It's over with.
You're done. And then you stormed away and slammed the door.
She could have probably got monetized way before me if she kept it up. But
we all want our kids to be better than us.
Yeah.
And have better things until they have them. And then you're like, fuck you.
Yeah, she legitimately threw that shit in my face at 9. I'm like,
I love that.
I see where this is going.
That is absolutely awesome. But you know what? That's going to be something she'll remember for the rest of her life.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like something's just going to trigger when she sees like,
oh, yeah.
Oh, Dad, I heard you say that so-and-so got more views on his video. Remember when I did too?
Oh, yeah.
I love that. Let's see. Flamingo Sauce is saying Kane's doing his own Roblox video.
That's like
just to compete with your daughter.
Flamingo, there's adults that do full on like Roblox for an adult to play is, I'm not judging, but there's so many better gaming experiences, and they have their Roblox channels and they're making a lot of money, but it looks like they have no soul. It's just like sucked out of them because they're playing this shitty game night in and night out. It's like that. I couldn't do it.
I'm with you. But people look at me and say, they say, how can you? Because I look at my daughter. I say, Olivia, how the fuck do you watch these girls? They're so fucking annoying. And
I'm like, there's a new channel called Lanky Box, and like, oh my god, man! Thank God my daughter doesn't watch that.
She watches something with these triplets or these 3 sisters that look all
millionaires, probably.
Oh yeah, and I'm like, how the fuck do you watch this?
Yeah.
I probably don't say it like that, and she's like, and she gets annoyed because her mom says it. My her brother will say it, and she's like, I don't say that about the stuff you watch. I'm like, because stuff I watch is cool.
My theory was this too, like. I let her do it so much. Like she used to watch all these dopey YouTube videos. And now, because she did it so much, she watches TV. She came full circle and she's watching, not Family Guy, Bob's Burgers all the time. That's like her show. And that's a legitimate half-hour show. So it's like, it's waves and circles.
We pick TV series to watch. Like we've been watching Buffy and Angel. There's a lot of episodes between those two shows.
Nice. Yeah.
And we're watching in order. And then today I just saw that Sarah Michelle Gellar is going to reprise her role in the reboot.
Yeah.
Which is a continuation. I sent it over to her and she's like, I'll be watching. I was like, I'm thinking, what about me? We watch it together. Like, what? All right. So she doesn't collect. So she doesn't even understand. Doesn't have anything to do with this. Doesn't care.
She, like all this stuff behind me. I mean, she's unfazed by it. She knows it's something Daddy does, and I do a toy show locally that she thinks is cool. But she does her own thing. I've never tried to. I tried, like I said, when she was little. She grew out of it. I'm not one of them dads that are like, no, you have to like this, you
Yep.
have to do this. So she does her own thing.
I tried getting my kids a skateboard. I bought
Yeah.
them skateboards. I took them out, and more or less, I wanted them to go out and do stuff. They tried it. None of them had. I just want to see the glimmer in their fucking eye.
Yeah, and if it's
They didn't have it.
so, that's that. I think that's appropriate, man. If you force
know?
your kid to do something, they're going to resent you eventually.
Yeah, and it sucks because I dreamt about having a son, and I could be like, "Hey, we're going to the park," and his mom
Yeah.
would be like, "Yeah, the skate park. Hey, it's still a park," and he doesn't want to. It also didn't help that if anyone remembers Jake, what the hell was the guy? The guy that fell 25 feet skating, and his shoes blew off on the X Games.
No,
Jake, I can't think of his last name. Anyway,
the
my
snake
son was. It wasn't Jake the Snake. He did not land on Damien. But my son was just born, and I just happened to stop on ESPN, and I'm like bouncing him, and she's like, "He's not going to skate. He's going to be too cute for this." And I'm like, "Whatever." And mega ramp, boom.
Nice.
Jake goes up. He loses control. He comes down. He misses the vert. His feet like kind of hit the beginning of the transition. He lands in the flat. His shoes blow off.
Yeah.
And she was like, "He's not going to be doing that." And I was like, "We won't even be skating big ramps like this."
There's street skating too, which is a whole other thing.
Oh yeah, well I wasn't going to show her some of that shit.
Yeah.
And Figure Fight Club is jumping in, and same with Not Rich
Hey.
Linus.
Oh my god, that show is terrible. Ever watched that?
What?
Annoying Orange. It's like
Never
just the
heard of
lips imposed on an actual orange. Freaky, man.
Never even heard of it.
Don't do it. Don't even bother.
Well, I don't. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, weird shit.
It's kind of like that whole like, someone does this. Oh, that's awful. Try it. No, you just told me it's fucking awful.
I felt
try
that
it,
you have
right?
to feel it. Yeah.
I just watched you. I watched your face grimace. And I'm like, no, that's cool. I don't need to try it. We're good. All right. I believe you.
Yeah. I'll take your word for it.
All right. So let's talk a little toys.
Oh,
So what are you collecting? Is there anything specific, or are you just
it's full on. Here's my problem. And I envy people that have. There's people that just have a thing. Like I love Star Wars.
Yeah.
I love G.I. Joe.
you know,
I don't have an affinity for one. First of all, I love the art of it. I love the sculpt work. I love paint detail. I've never been a super fan of anything. I really haven't. I went through phases of everything, and that continued to adulthood. So I collect a little bit of everything, which not only isn't good for your channel because a channel watcher is looking for something really specific. You know what I mean?
I know.
Right. So if I put a video up of a Weird Al figure, it's going to get like a. And listen, I don't do it for views at the end of the day, but
you
it is
know
fun. It is
You
fun.
know
You get-
Yeah. It's hard not to notice that all my classified will get 1,000 in one day.
yeah. I mean,
And then I'll do a Mythic Legion, and it might get 250 over the whole time. And it's like, I have 20 fucking Mythic Legions that I reviewed, so it's not like I have just a one-off.
yeah. But Punk, I can't if I see something that is unusual, but it's something I've never seen before, I almost have to own it. I have to experience it. Maybe I'll sell it, but I have. You bring up Mythic Legions. I was at ToyCon, New Jersey, when Mythic Legions first started selling. They're a Jersey company, so I saw them set up. One year they set up not to sell. I was there the next year when they sold. I had to have a bunch of them. You know what I mean? I had to be in it in the moment. You can call it FOMO. I call it wanting to experience something new that you haven't played with, touched, manipulated before. And I can't resist it. I've never seen toys like this before that are meant for adults, that are across the board. The quality is better. People could argue that. So much that's good, so much that's fun. And I envy people that have one thing that they're honed in on.
It'd be so much easier. I used to, so my old friend was big into Star Wars. Probably has $300,000 worth of Star Wars stuff. And this is before Star Wars blew up again, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was collecting G.I. Joe. That's all I cared about. You know, I was doing my O-ring stuff, and this was well before Classified. And I remember being so happy. It's like, I'm so glad I collect G.I. Joe. It's not everywhere. So when you'd see a button, a magnet, you'd buy it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the Walmart stuff started, and then they started popping up, and then you start finding more, then you're buying everything, but then you have to start cutting back, and then Classify, and now it's just huge. Yeah. And then you get into, and then I just start veering off, and I'm picking up everything.
Yeah.
And I wish I could be someone that says, I only do G.I. Joe. I don't really care about anything else. No, I see Operation Monster Force, and I'm like, whoa, what is that?
Especially Punk, the quality, the paint apps, it's unique, and it's in the wheelhouse of military with some fantasy and monster stuff blended in. Who wouldn't want to experience that? Restraint is something I do not have.
Hold on one second here.
Here we go. Money talk. Here comes the money.
Pop Blender with the $5 super chat. This has been a great, I refuse to call it that because it just sounds wrong. Thursday with a friend. I'll be checking out Toy Games more now. Seems like a good dude. And for that, I appreciate this. Thanks again, Punk. Hey, you know what? And that's the whole point of it, man, to bring in like people that someone haven't seen that watch my channel and hopefully get some of their people.
Yeah,
I see how many people you guys got. I gotta steal some of those people.
Pop, thank you for that. I do curse a lot, though. I'm a Sicilian man. My dad's an alcoholic. It's not my fault. I apologize.
Okay, you just made excuses. All right. So you collect all kinds of stuff. Now, I've heard you talk about you do a toy show, right?
I do.
Now, do you actually do a toy show, or do you put a whole toy show on, like a whole convention?
I wouldn't call it convention. It's not. That would be like it's a glorified, flea market, but it's all catered to toy collectors. Okay.
Yeah.
So I tried to, from my first show was this, try to get a horror guy, comic guy, a vintage guy, a new toy guy, and I succeeded in that. And I do have a partner. I had another partner, but he kind of flaked out, which is fine. It's our 10th show. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of bullshit, but there's a lot of fun. And I live in an area where, in my opinion, there's not, like if you go to Target and Walmart, the pegs are empty. Okay. If you go to a comic book shop that's not on top of their toy game, they have a lot of old shit stuff that's not flying off shelves. So to have this toy show local, a lot of kids are free, and that was one of the things we had to do. It's fun. It's almost like I don't want to say that without it the community would die. That's ridiculous. But I feel good about doing it because it's something for the community to do and have fun.
And you say kids are free, so that means that I go in, I take my kid
free.
Yeah, I take my kid free. Now, when they ask for something, you feel like, okay, well, I have a little bit extra money, right? I didn't have to buy it for you. And again, kids are going to see fucking toys, and it's something to make them, again, Motor City Comic Con. It's like $45,
right? And yet,
so I have a 16 and 8-year-old. I'm looking at $150 to go there.
Yep.
And then, what's the use of going there if you're not going to buy anything?
So
if I look at it, I don't have the money. I'm like, we haven't gone in a few years. I'm like, I'm not going to go there. I can just go up to Sergeant Red's and pretty much get anything that I need.
Right. So you said it is why it's not a con. A con to me always has guests. Now, Sergeant Slaughter, it could be Ernie Hudson. I'm just throwing out names. That's fun, right? But then you got to raise the ticket cost because it costs money to get them guests. You book a hotel room for them. You have to do all these extra things to bump up that ticket cost. My goal, and I'm gonna sound like a salesman here, and I don't mean to. That's not my identity. But my goal was this: for $20, you'll get a raffle ticket, you'll get entry to the show, and you'll probably be able to find a cool toy, all for $20. And there's not many things you can do these days for $20.
No, not at all.
And when someone wins the raffle, people like winning shit, and it could be, dare I say, a Funko Pop or a McFarlane figure, whatever. We have box that's an extra toy. It's a bonus, and like I said, 10 shows deep, people enjoy it. I get about 800 people come, which for a small show isn't bad, and keep rocking and rolling.
But you said, like, what can you do for $20? Like, what can you get? Like, go to Taco Bell for you, your wife, and your daughter. You're spending almost $30.
I haven't had a number 6 with cheese in a long time from Wendy's, which is the spicy chicken, which is the fucking best.
Oh,
like
no.
$17.
Oh, no. I got food poisoning from a spicy chicken many years ago.
Yeah.
So I probably did not eat Wendy's for maybe 15
It was probably a tomato, though. Tomatoes can get E. coli really easy.
All I know is that I was working with a guy. We went to Wendy's. We came back. We were sitting working on the computer, and the guy looked back at me and goes, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "I don't feel good." And I got home, and let's just say, luckily, the bathtub was right next to where the toilet was.
Oh, God, that's the worst.
It was the only time I could say I had major food poisoning. Awful. Anyway, that's from spicy chicken. Sorry, derailed it.
Food poisoning will make you puke and shit at the same time. Tony, Legend Series. Tony comes to the show, and he'll tell you it's a good time. You'll see vintage toys, new toys. Like I said, I try to get a little bit of everything. I don't like Funko Pops, but I understand people still collect them. So you have to have a pop vendor there, something for everyone.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with it. I don't have to. My daughter loves Funko Pops.
Yeah.
She loves Lilo and Stitch. So she has a huge Stitch collection. She has a huge Stitch Pop collection. And if she'll buy like series of Funko Pops. She wanted the G.I. Joe series.
They're better than Beanie Babies. You got to give them that. You know how many people I have write me and they're like, "Hey, I know you're into toys. I got all these Beanie Babies. What are they worth?" And I'm like, "Nothing."
How much did it cost? How much did it cost you to write me this? That's how much.
Princess Diana Beanie Baby, nothing. Some pink elephant thing, nothing.
They were hot there.
They were hot.
They were hot because my one of my ex-girlfriends, her mom worked at Hallmark, so she got them, and I can only imagine what her house looks like. I mean, she probably still has so many of them. But she might have flipped them too at the time.
The thing about a Beanie Baby, if you have them, they're not worth shit. Just display a few, and then just remember as a goof that you bought in the freaking 90s.
Yeah. All right. So you've done 10 of these. Are they once a year or multiple times?
This is the first time we're going to try and do. Like I said, I have a partner. I didn't want to do 4 this year, but I'm not going to say no to making a few extra bucks because there is some slight stress involved, especially if you're like me. Well, I worry about everything. I worry about, like, we have a February show coming up. I'm worried about the snow because if it snows, the show is shot.
Yeah, we were talking about that on your show. What were you just talking about that? I caught you talking about that.
Oh, if it snows and now you're going to have, 90 vendors staring at each other with nobody coming. That's like my biggest nightmare. Well, what can you do though? At the end of the day, I can't control the weather, right?
If you got the weather dominator, you could.
True. This is a Lone Dragon he's been following me for a year now. That is, we're not going to, I think my wife is still awake, so we are not going to.
Lone Dragon sometimes teeters on that. Like, we're not talking about that, dude. Have you not seen me ignore your comment enough today?
I don't want to be in a doghouse for the weekend. I want to have some fun this weekend.
I think Lone Dragon knows when I get pissed off at him.
Well, that did happen in Yeah. Okay.
All right. So you are again. You do a toy show. You've been collecting forever. Sounds like you
Yep.
never really stopped.
Yep.
Your YouTube channel.
Okay.
Okay. So how did that start, and where do you see it going?
Okay. This is now here. I'm gonna give you a woe is me. That no one likes the fucking woe is me story, right? I will say I am not. I had my first toy video the same time as guys like Sean. I'm not saying I would be these guys. Sean Long, Pixel Dan, and Shart grew their channels. Say what you will about all three of them, and they're mega YouTubers now, right?
Yeah.
My first toy review was an '89 Hot Toys Batman figure that was 2009. Okay. If I would have continued with that style of reviewing toys and just being who I was, I think I would have been, I don't know where I would have been, but obviously 10 years deep, I would have been more subscribers than now. But me and my friends were making these stupid, like horror. I don't want to say stupid. We had a shit ton of fun. But the algorithm and what people search for wasn't homemade horror movies. But we did it for fun. It was called Barebone Cinema. It's still up. We still make about one video a year. It's a lot of nonsense. So years went by. I have all these toys. I have no one to talk to them about. I didn't know things like this would be around where I'm talking with a friend about toys. So I just wanted to have an outlet that gave my toys more of a life than just being on my shelf, if that makes any sense. And I did my first video. And next, you know, I wake up and I have like 300 views. I'm like, oh shit, I'll do another one. And every once in a while you get lucky, you get 1,000 views or 2,000 views. And Punk, if the channel is what it is and doesn't go any further, I'm content with that, man. I've had so much fun in these past 2 years. I've never looked at it as something that's going to be my career. I could end my channel tomorrow and be completely satisfied with my YouTube career. I've met so many cool people. I've had so much fun. We had a fake toy named after me, and it was one of the most fun things I've had happen to me. So wherever the ride ends, man, I'm cool with it.
All right. So what you're saying is, had you continued doing this from the beginning, you would be bigger than Sharda's Prime and every other toy. No, you heard it here first. Toy Game says
I don't want to say
he should be bigger than any toy tuber because he did a Hot Toys before anyone.
I'm telling you, I knew I had the. I'm telling you, this is way before like the boom of like collectibles.
Yeah.
I told my friend Jimmy, I was like, listen, dude, I think this toy thing could be something, but he's the one with the camera. He's the one that was filming. I can't force him to make videos he didn't want to do.
Yeah.
So he wanted to make horror vids. We made a ton of just so many stupid videos, man. But we had a lot of fucking fun.
Pixel Games.
Now, my other thing is this though.
Gains.
I
like Gainamus Prime.
I can never lock on to one toy line though. Like Pixel Dan loves Motu. I don't love Motu enough to just make Motu stuff, and that's a hindrance to your channel.
Because I can't look at another fucking toy and be like, oh my god, I need to have that. I need to know what it feels like. God, it sounds so wrong. But I need to grab it and god damn it, there's no way this is going.
What's funny about that Batman review, the only comment on there is a guy that reviews horror figures, and now he has like 25,000 subs. I swear to you, his name is Dean something. He does great horror reviews.
So I'm glad Jeff is here. Jeff, you heard it right here. Toy Gang saying that he would be the biggest toy tuber.
I mean, the Mount Rushmore would be. Sean Long, Shardamus Prime, Pixel Dan, and Gaines, baby.
I don't even know who Sean Long is.
He's a fucking weird. Sean Long, listen, he's a weirdo, but he was an eccentric, weird, interesting weirdo. It's fine that he's a weirdo. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. And I'm saying that in like you're enthralled by his weirdness. It was charming, and he somehow had every D Knight. Thank you, D Knight commented on the video. Sean Long had every fucking hot toy known. I mean, $100,000 worth of hot toys, and you couldn't believe your mind. Like, how is this young guy? This is before companies would send you shit. Okay. So I think part of it was trying to figure out how he got them. But here he was with these hot toys, and that channel blew up. And then he got a girlfriend, and he kind of like threw it in our faces. Like, look at me. It was very odd. And that created the downfall of his channel. You don't lose your audience and try to force your girlfriend to do review the toys with you. It was a bad chemistry for him and his fans.
Yeah. It's funny that you talked about doing movies. We used to mess around and we tried doing stuff. And I had a character called the Masked Ninja. So did you ever make a ninja mask with your shirt?
Oh yeah.
So you pull it up, you pull it and then you tie it back.
Yeah.
I was called the Masked Ninja, and it was an oxymoron because ninjas already have a mask on, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, once Articulated Ninja came in,
yeah,
I was like, I can never do that. I can never do that gimmick because someone's going to think that I'm making fun of him. Right. And this is something from well before YouTube was even a thing, right?
Right.
We were skateboarders making movies, or I was hanging out with guys that were just punk rockers, and I would pull it up and I'd be the Masked Ninja. And it was the stupidest thing because
sounds stupid. Yeah.
Yeah. But at night, like if it was dark and we were trying to do something and you took a white shirt, you kind of look like Storm Shadow. Because you can't see that you have everything tied up. It just it fucked everything up.
I will say this. There's been 2 videos I made, not toy related, that I could have swore you had that feeling like this is funny. I think this is going to go viral. One was I would review things that no one gave a shit about, which was the name of the video, and I reviewed Under Armour, the fucking gym clothes, and it was so stupid that I thought it was going to work, and it didn't. And the next video was a character I do called Big A, which is like a Wayne and Garth mixed with Ricky Rackman from like MTV heavy metal days.
Ricky Rackman. What was it called?
Headbangers Ball.
Headbangers Ball. Yes.
So Ricky, I did a Big A reviews the Angry Whopper, which was like a, Burger King special hamburger, and it was a funny fucking video. And comedy's hard because it might be something really funny to you and your friend, but funny to nobody else. And it still was funny to you and your friend, and that's cool, right? Comedy is not easy. But that video, I was like, yo, this is funny shit. If people see this, they're going to share it, and Big A is going to take off. Well, Big A did not take off. but I have fun doing that character because I could be someone that I'm not. You know what I mean?
All right, so I'm totally with you with like I said, if my channel went away, the channel it pays for my hobby. It does now. But if it went away, like you said, it doesn't pay my bills. I have a career, been at it for 23 years, but more than anything, it's the friendships that I've made, the relationships that I've made. Some have started out good and then we're no longer friends, but again, some of my best friends, like Tony's Figs. I talk to him almost every single day on the phone. It's weird. My daughter's like, really, Tony again? I'm like, I know. You talk to some of these people all the time, whether it be on here, communicating. I mean, I talk to Matthew and Ed almost every single day, by texting or whatever.
Yeah.
I couldn't be mad if this went away because of everything that it has brought. And then going to Joe Fest and just meeting so many people. Like I tell everyone, I go, Joe Fest had nothing to do with the convention. It had to do with meeting. If we went to a mall for a weekend and just hung out,
Agreed.
that would be fun. Like that's all that we would that's all I cared about. Now, don't get me wrong, I'd rather be at Joe Fest and go and look at these toys, but I could have bought everything I wanted in the first 3 hours there.
Tony's
Be done.
Tony's Figs comment.
Yeah, he calls all the time.
I agree. It's it's unique because you're finding a bunch of like-minded people. They may have the same interests, same sense of humor, same warped mind that you would. I couldn't go to, say I go to Walmart and a guy happens to be buying the same Power Girl figure as me. You might have a conversation about the figure and the hunt and McFarlane, but then you go your separate ways, right?
Yep.
But here you can do it every other night and every week, and it does feel special. Yeah, I fucking enjoy it, man. Yeah, Double J, man. I talked to this fucking guy a year ago. He was a stranger, and now we talk twice a week, so it's pretty awesome.
So the first I met Tony because Travis from A Toy Kind of Mood wanted me to come on there.
Yeah.
And he asked me to come on, and I said, who else is going to be on there? And he told me, right? So I'm going back and forth chatting over Facebook or whatever with Travis about the show or whatever. And he's a Patriots fan because he's from Boston.
Yeah.
He was watching it. And I remember that Tony Romo was doing the game. And I said, oh, that sucks that you have to listen to Tony Romo. And he comes back and he goes, dude, don't be talking about one of our guys like that. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, dude, Tony, dude, he's a cool guy, man. I'm like, he's fucking awful. And he's like, dude, he's like, he's going to be on the show with us. I'm like, and then he goes, oh, you mean Tony Romo, the announcer? I'm like, I assumed you're watching the Patriots game. I'm like, who the fuck is Tony Romo? He's like, oh, he's one of our crew. He's going to be on the show. I had no idea. Then it turns out the guy's an actual Cowboys fan.
That's funny.
And not because of Tony Romo, which is really fucked up.
Yeah.
And then over time, we became friends.
Yeah.
I don't like the guy, but. All right. So, as for your lives,
yeah,
where do you see your lives going, and when do you decide to change your days off of Monday and Thursdays?
Well, Monday is fucking tough for me, man, because
you should do another day.
Tuesday. I mean, everybody has a fucking live stream nowadays. So
you know what?
We did it.
I tell everyone, I go, listen, if Monday at 9 p.m. is the only time you can go live and you really want to go live, then don't worry about who you're going up against, because my job has never been to make people not watch you guys, because you guys started going live after I had started. It's never been my job to make someone not watch someone else's show, but to make someone watch my show. And if that means at 9 p.m. they're like, hey, I just want to watch Punk more and I'm going to go back and watch the replay, great. If that means, hey, I like their show more, but I love Punk, so I'm going to catch him live, and I'm going to, and then I'll watch the beginning on the replay, great. That's what it's all. It sucks. And it really sucks because Thursday now all you guys are doing shows, and I'd love to have you guys all on this eventually. I just, Jerk just said he'll do it. But like Zakanan and Jeff, they're doing it at the same time, and I can't be mad at someone for not stopping their show to come do mine, because I'm not willing to stop my show. Right. It's nothing to do with it's nothing to do with.
I know what you're saying. It's not awkward, but at the same time, you wish there was more hours in a day and days in a week.
Yes.
You can't, it's hard to navigate. I love the Monday show is more like a freestyle, get to know us, talk whatever, right? And that show, it is what it is. It's fun. People show up. It's some shows, in my opinion, are better than others on Monday. Thursday is my baby. It's I can unwind and have a specific topic, whether it's a movie, a toy, sometimes a video game like tonight. And it's a variety show for nerds, quote unquote. And I absolutely love that show. when you say where is it going, we started our first show. We had about 50 viewers, and I was pumped. And it was probably most of our subscribers. And I got to credit Tim to that because of the three, he has the most subscribers, right? And we were happy, and I was happy just to have 50 people watching because I've seen some people do it, and God bless them. There might be 5 people watching. You know?
So this guy right here, this guy Matthew Matson.
Yeah.
Before I started doing lives, and then when I first started, and I think my first show had like 19 people watching.
Yep.
And I remember saying to Matthew, I go, because I'm looking at other shows and I'm seeing what they're doing. People that are consistent, they get 12 people, and they've been doing it for a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
And I go, is it wrong for me to be like, I don't want to be talking to just 12 people in 2 years?
No.
And he said, no, not at all.
No.
And I was like, thank you. Thank you so much.
It's admirable, but it's not wrong.
Yeah. And again, it's about being fun, but I want to talk to more people.
I think some guys, Punk, they want to just talk to their friends.
Yeah.
And if people are watching, it's a bonus. And that's fine. But I treat that's how Monday was more or less, we're going to talk, and if people come along, fuck it. But Thursday, I'm thinking about topics all week. I'm thinking about slides. I'm trying to locate new toys. And if there's nothing that week, we want to have something that's at least in the ballpark, whether it be a price point or something NECA screwed up. No, I'm not
Has NECA screwed anything up?
Yeah.
What has NECA done? Like, they upset people lately?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, they're fine. No, I'm not a toy journalist. I don't have that much time. I have a family, I have other hobbies and interests. I like to eat a lot. But I do take it a little serious. So the fact that Thursday show is growing from 50 to 100 to 150 to we hit 200 tonight, which
I saw that. That's
I get emotional, man, because it's not about being accepted. It's about, having this like community of something that you kind of grew it like a little plant. You know what I mean? You want to grow your plant and nurture it. And I'm proud of it. I think it's entertaining. I try to give it. I try not to be on that show and have my phone and then you guys are talking. Like Scud Farkas.
cry, bitch, cry, bitch, cry. I'm trying to think if I made anyone cry yet.
Well, no. I mean, listen. If you want to keep talking about family and shit, I might get there. I like it and I enjoy it, and I try to bring something different. I'm not a fucking. I curse. I'm kind of, I might ruffle some feathers. Some people, not everyone's gonna like me or get me. I have a guy that always yells at me because I'm wrong about order quantity and prices. It's like, okay,
I hear you talking about that.
it's fucking guy,
like,
man.
I like my Monday show. People are like, it's this much. Like, I'm like, dude, you did not really come here for the fucking news. Go watch Robo. I watch Robo, right?
Yeah.
You came here to see me obliterate the English language. You guys, basically, you're filling in the blanks for me. We're here to have fun.
Yeah.
Like, don't get mad at me, especially in my reviews. Like, hey, it's okay to correct me.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can tell when someone's being a dick, and you're like, all right, fuck you, dude. I don't care.
There's a right way to correct, and there's a wrong way. If you're being smug and acting like you're the know-it-all, if you're the know-it-all, show me your credentials that you work for fucking Hasbro, okay? Yeah. But no, Thursday's the baby. Thursday's something that I want. You asked me where I see it going. You got to look at the demographics out there.
Wednesday, I think I say going to Wednesday.
My point is, a lot of people there's a ton of YouTubers out there.
Yeah,
the toy game is filled. So the fact that we're getting 200 is a blessing. So,
but I also think we know. Well, maybe you don't know. You will see a drop off. You will see people that will get like anything, right? They'll
they had their fill.
Yeah, they'll get tired of it. They'll be like, "Oh, this isn't worth it. I'm not making money."
Of course.
And I think there are a lot of people that think we're making boatloads of money.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like we don't make a lot of money.
No,
You know-
someone just asked if we would. I think MCR, would you go full YouTube? I think it's too risky. I'll answer that right away, MCR. I'll answer it through the lens of another YouTuber that you guys might not know about. I've been watching YouTube for far too long. There was a video game YouTuber named Boogie2988. He still is a YouTuber. This guy was so big, he was on the video game awards as like content creator of the year. Okay. He was called the Mr. Rogers of video gaming YouTube. That guy now is almost flat broke 10 years later. He went from buying a house to buying cars to almost being flat broke. So I don't think it's sustainable unless you're really good with money. And I am not. Yeah, Boogie is a I didn't want to get into that part about the guy. He's a weird guy. Weird in a bad way, unlike Sean Long, who was weird in a fun way. I don't think YouTube is sustainable unless you're a huge, like 4 million views per video.
I don't think being a toy tuber is sustainable.
No.
I think being a YouTuber. And so to answer that question for me, so if I was laid off, let go, whatever, I would not look for a job right now. I would focus totally on YouTube because I feel like if I went into doing movie stuff, or something else, starting a new channel, not on this channel, because like you said, there is an algorithm. You know, no one wants to watch movies. They come in for G.I. Joe and other stuff like that, right? But I know what to do now. But it's too much of a risk for me to quit my job.
Yeah, you can't.
And be like, I'm going to start a new YouTube channel. I know what to do. Hell, I know how to buy subscribers just to hit that 1,000 if I really wanted to. You know, like you could get to it really quick if that's what. It is something that can be done. But if I was ever get there, it would just be out of necessity, or that it eventually happens and I'm retired and hey, money's just kind of flowing in because you've created such a catalog, and people fall asleep and they're watching some old fucking Duke review that no one gives a shit about. But you look at someone like Dan Larson.
Yeah, he did. Now Dan used YouTube and navigated around it, where he wrote a book and did some work for Mattel. He did it the smart way. He turned into a career the smart way. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's not a toy tuber per se.
Yeah.
He talks toys. He likes toys. But you look at his videos, the ones that I'm assuming make him money, it is pop culture stuff. It is history. Those things are always going to be there. He did the Noid, right? The Domino's Noid. That doesn't change. Yeah. So when someone wants to know about the Noid, they're going to watch it.
Yeah.
You know, all those stuff. You look at the stuff that Ken Poe, Toy Connections, is doing. The history of G.I. Joe, the history of Transformers. It doesn't change. That's the history. So you never have to worry about it changing. Someone wants to find it. Oh, hey, this history of Mask. Okay, boom, there it is. It's it's evergreen. It's all a review video. You know this. You have an infinite amount of time to get views.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, 2 to 4 weeks, and then it drops off. Mm-hmm. Every now and then, you're lucky, and one goes for 2, maybe 3 months.
Yeah,
those are the ones you're like, yes.
Yep.
And you still have like 5,000 views.
Yeah.
And you still have like only 5,000 views.
Now, like I said, in hindsight, if I could start all over again in 2010, when I was at the height of like being a gym rat, maybe I would have stuck a little more of the weight gains and maybe, but you know what? It might be something that I wouldn't have as much fun doing. I have fun talking about toys. This is more fun than talking about how much fucking weight I could bench. You know what I mean?
You're right. I meant there's a finite amount of time. See, have to correct me. You remember when I asked you if you wanted to be on the show yesterday? It's gone.
you blew it.
Thursday with a friend in March.
You blew it.
No,
but to answer your question again, if the show floats around 200, that's fine. I'm totally happy with that.
That's huge. That's because the other thing is mine floats from usually around 70 to 90.
Mm-hmm.
But you notice when like
you're one guy, Punk. I'm gonna say this: you're one guy. I brought in a little bit of my little measly 3,000 subs. Tim brought in he has close to 7,000 subs. Jerk had 5,000 subs when we start. So there is that factor. That did help having three different. And I'm into McFarlane. Jerk was into Classified, and Tim is a toy hunter into Marvel. So I think that did help as far as the initial numbers. Different audiences watching three different guys at the same time.
But you also have a chemistry. But what I'm saying is like mine flowed usually from like 70 to 90.
Yeah.
If it's G.I. Joe, I mean, I had 130 talking G.I. Joe because people want to hear G.I. Joe. But
yeah.
But you'll also notice that sometimes you won't see some of the regulars in there because they have other things to do.
Sure, of course.
So you're like, oh, well, shit. There's like 5 guys that are normally regulars. They're not even in here. So it's there's more people watching. And then the biggest thing is when you watch the numbers move on the replay. That's how you know people really are enjoying your stuff.
True.
If they're willing to go back and watch it on the replay because they missed it.
Yeah, and that's right. So I listen to a lot. I'm into I'm like an old housewife. I'm into like murder crap. I go to bed to this stuff. It's probably going to make me a homicidal maniac. But when I'm working, I'll listen to murder podcasts. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm trying. Thursday is like an information show about movies, about the new toys. So that's something where on a rewatch or just listen, you could still be in tune with it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and again, when I started my Monday show, I didn't have anything planned other than I was going to talk. Matthew kept saying 3 hours, 3 hours. I'm like, I'm not doing 3 hours. It's going to be an hour and a half, 2 hours. 3 hours is the perfect time. He's right. Now it's going to be like 3.5 hours. It's crazy. It shouldn't be. But I started to reorganize it so people can watch it on the replay and not listen, or not watch it. It's more of a right. It is a visual medium, but they're to hear me kind of ramble on about things. Hopefully I'm not always mad and screaming, right? Because as we know, drama sells, but where does it really get you after a while? You get a big I consider the whole drama shit that everyone does, it's like a big pop for wrestling. The pop goes and then it goes away. And if you can't wrestle, what does it fucking matter?
Right.
Shawn Michaels had a huge fucking pop and he could go out and fucking wrestle with the best of them.
Yep.
But someone would get a big pop and then that music was awesome, but your match sucked.
Yeah, I like watching the drama, but I never want to be a part of it unless it's
Sometimes it's hard. Again, I've been part of it.
Yeah.
Again, and I knew that going into this, I speak my mind. But I don't always have to say everything that I think.
Let me ask you a question. As a, you what do you got? You're over 6,000 subs now, right? 7,000?
Six.
What is? And you've had a ton of views. What's the worst thing that someone who watches? What's your least favorite thing someone will say to you?
Well, I think accusing me of giving them copyright strikes, stalking them was
that's
all right.
Something that's an ordinary, not a psychopath. Something an ordinary viewer says that you're like,
when
you see that comment, you're like, oh.
When
God.
people have to constantly correct me on the weapons that I didn't get it right.
That gun people are sticklers for that. That's why I don't do Joe reviews.
When people used to really be hot about me calling it a clip rather than a magazine. Now, with that said, I went and looked up the difference between a magazine and a clip, and I listened to the description. I said, okay. I've also had military guys that are like, hey, you know what? That's wrong. It's not really that big of a deal. It doesn't bother me. But then you have these other people. I had one guy just recently. I can't tell if he was mad or not. But he didn't like the fact that I called it an M4 with a 203. That's just called an M203. Okay.
Yeah.
But what's odd is that Top Fun Toys, who is a Marine right now, and he's doing these 3D printed weapons, go look at his website for what he's selling, and he says M16 with 203.
That's
like it's stuff like that.
Yeah.
You call something an Uzi, and they're like, "That's a Mac 10 or Mac," and it's like,
Yeah.
All right. Or they're mad because it doesn't look exactly. And I'm like, they try and tell me I don't know the lore. That's another one. You don't know the
Yeah.
lore. You know, you need to look. You know, I'm reviewing an action figure.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Like Robo. I love Robo, dude. I really do. Like, I think he does a wonderful job. Robo don't know. That's exactly what he says. I'm reviewing the action figure. So, yeah, it might be great to know it, but I'm looking at this figure, and I'm telling you about this figure and what I see. I don't care if I know all about Xandar. If his fucking eyes aren't painted right, I don't.
Sure.
The lore means shit, right?
All that goes out the window, yeah.
Like, you've done it, right? How many? What do you have? What's the worst thing that you get? Like, what's the thing that drives you?
Let's say I don't own a figure and I just want to talk about a toy and I make a video. I hate don't like it, don't buy it, which is no shit. You know what I mean? That's not an answer. It's a discussion. We want to talk about
Yes.
why I don't want to buy it, but just to say, well, if you don't like it, don't buy it. It's that simple. Well, no shit. You know, no shit. When they accuse you of not liking it because you can't afford it, which is just ridiculous when we're all surrounded by toys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's. I have a few people, not recently, but you know, all this gridiron stuff that I review, I don't buy most of it. My buddy Greg buys it, and he just says, "Hey, do you want to review this?" He got the Ramen Racer. Do you want to review this? Like this one's gonna trigger people. The Vanguard. I didn't buy it. That was Greg's. He let me review it, right?
Yeah.
And I've had people go, "You shouldn't review something unless if you buy it." Well, why?
Yeah.
Now, if you get something for free from a company, I think you should review it the same as you. But I do feel that you should tell people, hey, you know what? Just so you know, the company did send this to me, but I'm going to do my best to review it like it would anything else.
Yeah.
And I think people, I had somebody tell me, Matthew knows this, my moderators know this. It was on this figure actually, all right? Retro Cobra Commander. And he goes in to say, you know, you should just be happy Hasbro's even making these figures. All you did was complain. And he complained about all this stuff that I complained about and what I did. And I'm like, and so it made me go watch the video again. I'm like, I pointed out that it would have been nice to have this. And I'm like, he did more complaining about me in this little comment than I did throughout the whole video.
Right. Yeah. I didn't like the price point for the real Ghostbusters from Mondo. I felt like what gives Mondo is telling every other toy company, like, we're so good at making toys that you should spend $105, not $100, but for some strange reason, $105 for a single 6-inch figure. And I felt that that's a slap in the face to other toy companies and the collectors. And that's just my opinion. If you think I'm wrong, just say I disagree, and tell me why you disagree. Don't say that I can't afford it. I'm just jealous. I'm a cheapskate. You're just mad because you can't buy. Ridiculous reasons to come up with to justify this wacky price point. You know what I mean? That's the stuff that kind of drives me nuts.
I'm with you. And when someone tells you you don't like. When I say, I'm sorry, Super 7, the Ultimates, they are overpriced.
Sure.
And I'm not saying $55 is overpriced for a figure. I'm saying the quality they give you normally, you don't know what you're going to get. A lot of it is the plastic isn't good. They give you the same. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, that is overpriced, especially when I can buy a NECA, which is going to usually be much better. Better for $40.
What's funny, Punk, is if you use that excuse that, well, Super 7 is a boutique company and the order quantity isn't going to be as high as a Spider-Man figure for, I don't know, a Lino, right? Well, do you think when NECA made the fucking an Alf figure, it's going to sell as much as Lino? Like, and they sell it for $30 to $35. So I don't like when people make excuse. I don't mind when they have an answer, but when you make excuses that you don't really know, because these companies don't really let us know every detail about how they come up with a price.
There are reasons and excuses. That's what I've told my kids my whole life.
Yeah.
There's an excuse. There's a reason. Why am I not in the same shape that I was? Because I don't really want to work out as much. I'd rather eat pizza and drink pop.
Yeah.
All right? That's
Yeah.
not an excuse. I'm telling you the reason. An
Yeah.
excuse would be like, oh, I just don't have time to go. And no. Now I'm making excuses. I'm just
Yeah.
giving you a reason.
Yeah.
Own it.
Right.
Own that you're fat. I'm good.
Right.
No, I again, I really like that question. That's
Yeah. I mean,
that's gonna be toy reviewers, but I love the fact that you're like, see, this is what I think people miss out on when they're doing YouTube, is asking somebody for help and asking questions and actually getting an answer.
sure.
I think a lot of people are surrounded by yes men. They just want to hear, hey, what you did was great.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Why did 12 people watch it then? Why weren't there more people?
Right. You must be doing that. Right. I agree. No, as you're going to grow, with that growth will always come people that don't like you and are watching just because they do not like you. And some people say, well, that's still driving up your numbers and helping the algorithm. I don't want that, man. If you don't like me and you don't agree with me, if you don't agree with me, it's fine. But if you don't like me and don't agree with me, what the hell are we doing?
Just move on. Hey,
Yeah.
I can look at any video of mine and I have almost 3 dislikes on everything.
Mhm.
So do you know what
Same
that
here.
tells me? So that tells me that it's either someone being funny hitting the dislike, or
No,
you
same
really
three
hate me.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, which I love because it means you hate me so much that you'll give me a dislike,
Yeah.
but I'm in your fucking algorithm.
I had somebody tell me I've been watching every Thursday night show. He told me I get cornier every show. I'm like, did you mean hornier? I was fucking with him back. I might get hornier every show. I don't know about. So I guess in a way that's good. Howard Stern, say what you want about him now, but in his heyday said he liked people that hated him as much as loved him, because the people that hated him watched him more than the people that loved him, which is
So
crazy.
many people hate. I don't hate watch. I don't.
Yeah.
I have too much stuff.
Cicadas here.
Fuck that show. Fuck that show. So
I don't hate watch people either. It's not good for your mental health.
no, if someone says, "Hey, check this out," it might be someone I don't like, but maybe they were talking about something that was interesting, or they had something to address. I'll go watch it, right? But I'm not going to sit do someone's live stream. I don't like them. I see them. I just move on, right?
Yeah, it's not good for your mental psyche, man. It's like, even with like a TV show like The Acolyte, people watch The Acolyte. Well, why would you devote your time to hating something? Like, you're wasting your precious minutes on this earth, man.
Except sometimes you get so invested, you're like, I gotta finish it.
Well,
It's a bad movie. You're like, why don't I stop it?
yeah, this train wreck. I did that with Section 31. I was like, I'm an hour in. I got to finish it.
So I'm not the most liked person in this space. I get it. I don't really care. And I've seen people take shots at me. I never said that I look like Leatherneck, right? Everyone else said I look like Leatherneck. Everyone else said I look like Larry Neck. But what I like is that I look at this figure, and whether I think it looks like me or not, and now here's my dog Roman, I know there's people that fucking hate me that love G.I. Joe, and they're stuck looking at this fucking figure. And every time they look at it, they're going to call it Larry Neck because everyone else fucking did. And that makes me smile.
Figures. It even doesn't have a neck like you, man. It's uncanny.
And I had fun with it. I did my review. I bought that hat.
Yeah.
I did the Sergeant Slaughter, which I think I actually look more like Sergeant Slaughter than Leatherneck. But
No,
whatever.
you look like that figure, dude. You should do.
I don't see it, but
Oh
again,
man, he's over here. I'm looking at it. It's like looking at fucking a twin.
no. See, K Dog says, "I love to see the circles come together, but hey, people hang where they hang."
Oh, absolutely.
And again,
Absolutely.
but I've said before, I don't need to be friends with everyone in the space. It doesn't mean you can't go to a show together. I've heard Ninja talk about it before. Like, hey, I see someone I don't like at a show, and you know what I do? I'm an adult, and I just walk by them because I don't care.
Right.
Again, I don't have to like everybody, and not everyone has to like me. And I also don't think that every time that someone mentions my name on a stream that I need to do a reaction video, that I have to come back at them. Because if I say something and somebody wants to counter it, hey, you guys are talking and you heard me on a review or whatever. And you're like, yeah, I heard Punk, and I totally disagree with what he said. He said this, and what I've heard, you're making a conversation. So if I came back on my stream and I was like, yeah, I was pointed out, I was listening to them. Well, I know what they said, but this is the reason why. Now we may not be talking, but we're not having we're not having a conversation, but we're kind of having dialect going back and forth.
Yeah.
Where some people are like, oh, they said my fucking name. Don't say my fucking name.
Yeah.
Keep my name out your mouth. Like, really, you said something on the internet. It's in ink. It's out there. Why can't I address something that you said?
I think a lot of this community is afraid of that for some reason, and we shouldn't be, because we're all sure, we're collecting toys, but we're all adults. Okay, we shouldn't fear one another if we just want to bullshit and shoot the shit and address things and clear the air. Shouldn't be afraid to do that.
Yeah. And again, I there are so many things that I know about people, and I could go, I could start my Monday night and just fucking go off.
Yeah, it's not,
but what good does that do me?
Yeah,
Again,
it's not going to get you anywhere. Maybe for that moment, it's going to feel good, but it's not worth it.
No, when I had to address what was said about me, whether it be through Viper Island or Shark News, and you asked about it when you came on the show, because you're like, yeah, I just want to know what's going on. And
yeah, it's curious. Yeah,
and it doesn't dawn on me that not everyone watches me. It knows the drama that has been going on with people. It's not just talking about me, but other people, right? And so I'm sure a lot of people saw that live stream that I did when I went fucking off, and I watched some of the people come in, and then they quickly changed their tune or left, because they're like, all right, this guy didn't do that because he's not going to open up everything if if he really did this,
Yeah.
But I don't want to do that. I just want to talk toys, be entertaining. That's what I told Matthew before, like early on. I just hope I'm not boring. And his words were, "Oh, you are anything but boring."
No. Especially since, you want to get on here and be engaging, and you want to have something to say. And right off the bat, if you do that, you're not going to be boring. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know about that. Some people.
Well, no, some people just do a live stream and I think they just want to hear themselves talk. When I guess if you want to vent, that's fine, but it's better to be engaged. Be engaged with the people that are watching you, even if it is 6 people. You know what I mean?
You talk to the chat. I've already said, no one is tuning in on Monday just to hear me.
Yeah.
You're here to chat with each other, converse. Someone said it, and it's like going to a bar. We're all just hanging out. The only voice that you're hearing is mine, but that's why I try and highlight and say everyone's name that comes into my chat.
Yeah,
because they're investing time in me. I should be investing some time into them.
Yeah,
it goes, at Joe Fest. Again, seems weird. You know how it is. You've grown as a YouTube channel. People. They do see you as like a celebrity. It's weird because I don't think I am. I'm just another person. They want 5 minutes of your time.
Yeah.
And
I had a little taste of that at Allegiance Con. It was only like 5 people, but I love it, man.
Yeah, but would you consider that like your space?
I don't care, man. If I was at a restaurant, if I ever got that fucking big, it's different. But man, I'm at a toy show.
Okay,
I expect it.
I guess what I meant by your space, like when I went to PowerCon, there were a few people that recognized me. But when I went to Joe Fest,
I knew there were watchers, sure.
Yeah, I didn't expect there to be that many.
Yeah.
And there were people that they just wanted to talk to me. They
Yeah.
just wanted to say, "Oh, I love your show," and they wanted 5 minutes. And
Yeah.
you know, you always hear about the people that are assholes, like in celebrities.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't have the fucking time. You never really hear about the people that take the time. I'd rather be someone who never fucking goes and tells everyone that he spent 5 minutes chatting with me, rather than to turn on and be like, "Oh yeah, I met him at Joe Fest, and all I could do was fucking brush me off."
Guy's
know?
an asshole.
And then
Yeah.
someone else go, "Yeah, he was the same way to me."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's
Because then what's the point of doing this? If you're gonna brush people off, why even have the comments on your videos? Why turn the comments off? You know what I mean?
be one of those guys that turns the comments off.
No,
Let's say something
douchebag.
controversial, and then I'm shutting off the comments.
Yes.
So let me ask you this,
Hmm.
because you said I can give you like 2 hours. We're going on 3
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah, we're hitting that 3, baby.
I know. So let me ask you, and then we can wrap it up, and I'll let you go.
Okay.
You guys have been going to a lot of cons. Are you planning on going to Joe Fest?
I had something happen to me that hasn't happened. I mean, we're doing full disclosure tonight. I've been open about everything. I've always gotten money back on my fucking taxes. And this is the first time in my entire fucking life where I owe money. I don't know what happened, what went wrong. And I it's almost like Clark Griswold when he was going to get the pool and he had that Christmas bonus. So, dude, like that, I don't dip into my savings ever, and I don't dip into I have my extra money to do things, and I was banking on that fucking income tax check. I don't know what I'm going to do. My vacation might be home jerking off on the couch this year and telling the wife and the kid to fucking go to the mall. I don't know.
At least get them out of the house before you.
Yeah, that's true. So I don't know, man. I'd like to go. I'd like to go to DFW. I'd like to go to Toylanta because it's a fun event. So I don't know yet, man.
Yeah, I still got some back. I will say this: when they added what I made over this year, I went, "Son of a bitch."
Yeah.
I wasn't too happy about that.
Yeah.
That was a little. I mean, I knew it was coming, so it wasn't like I was blown away. But I knew that, I knew that it was coming, so I was prepared.
Yeah.
But I still was able to walk away with some. It went to Bills right away, like always.
Well, of course, you're doing the right thing. I was going to do that. Really pissed me off. That was Sunday night, man. What a fucking bummer. That was like getting the Jelly of the Month club, and I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do.
I'm glad you didn't have a cousin that went and raided the IRS.
No, I didn't get that bad, man. It just life can sometimes put the old monkey wrench in your plans.
Yeah, and that's why I'm planning on going to Joe Fest, but I made it perfectly clear, hey,
That's June.
could come up. Yeah, June 19th, 20th, 21st, I think.
Yeah.
Somewhere the end of June. But I'm not. I tell people I don't have all the money in the world.
Yeah, neither do I, man.
Yeah, I don't try and hide it. The toys, the YouTube channel pays for so much, not that much as a lot of people think that it does.
No, you need about if you get 20,000 views a vid, maybe, but
Even then, I mean, I can go through all my reviews and tell you which figures actually pay for themselves.
Right.
Which isn't that many.
Right.
And when you buy Mythic Legions and you go, oh, hey, look, I got 400 views over a month. I made $4 back on that if I'm lucky.
Right. So yeah, I don't know what. I know I'm going to Legions Con because that's just a drive away. That's no big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, because like I said, Joe Fest is where I'm planning on going. Because people they want me to Codename Iowa, they want me to go to Legions Con. I would love to, but all that starts adding up.
Yep.
Especially when you're a single guy and you pay child support, and your kids are one kid lives with you all the time, and it all adds up. And
absolutely.
as great as it is, I know there's no cons coming through Michigan that people are going to want to come to. Sucks. It sucks, you know. Like, they want to move Joe.
I think Exoticon is a decent one. Go to that one. You're
Where?
single. Exoticon. That's the porn convention.
Then I have to go to the STT convention.
Yeah, I mean that's the trip afterwards.
Well, I'm gonna let you go. You gave me 3 hours.
I did.
We
And you
started.
were right. It went by to the last 10 minutes where I was like, holy shit, I got to get up in 5 hours. It did go by fast, man, and I had a good time.
And you know what? That's what everyone has said. They're like,
Yeah.
"Shit, we've been on 3 hours." I'm like, I told you it goes by. And we've had between 50 and 60 people watching the whole time.
Yeah.
So believe me, people want to see you. They like what you do. They should only like what you do till 9 on Monday. No.
Before I go, I gotta say this, and I don't want to fucking end the show on some big downer. I'm not that's not my thing, but I would be amiss if I didn't mention that. I talked about my meeting my brother. I did lose my brother. He did unfortunately overdose about 10 years ago, and he passed away. I had him in my life for a very brief moment of time. My point is this: if there's someone out there you got beef with or you haven't talked to in a while, a friend, a family member, clear the air, let them know how you feel. And you never know how long you're going to have someone. And you don't want to end on bad terms. It'd be the worst thing ever. And thankfully, me and my brother went through some bullshit, but we patched it up and we said, I love you before he kicked off to the old toy show in the sky. All right.
No, I fully understand. I'm sorry for your loss.
No, but I like to have every negative try to be a positive for somebody else. You know what I mean?
So, Kanan, you were here earlier, and Matthew was telling you, cry, bitch, cry. No, and you know, again, it's not really a downer.
Yeah.
I can tell you, dude, this show here, there's been suicide talk
Sure.
by 2 different people.
Yeah.
there have been some really, really dark things and heavy things.
Is it because they met you or it was prior?
It was prior. Well, I don't know if they haven't tried since. Well, Ed, have you tried again since? It was 2 weeks in a row, too.
Yeah. Oh, listen, if I'll say this is not to kiss your ass. If you got someone so comfortable they could talk about that and me talking about how my brother unfortunately overdosed, you're doing something right, man. You're getting people to open up, and that's a positive thing in the old Book of Gaines, which the Book of Gaines has a lot of titties in it, but it also has like people he likes in it, man. So credit to you.
Well, thank you. And that's all. That's all I want to do is make it about you. And Matthew hasn't even said once today that, oh, look, there it is, all about Punk again. You can't have a conversation like this and not interact your own stories, or else it's just you talking, and you'd be like, "Are you going to say anything else?" The best the best interviews are conversations.
Absolutely.
That's what Jim Rome says. That's what Dan Patrick says.
Fucking Phil Collins said it.
Fucking Phil Collins. I think he's writing a song about it right now called Fucking Phil Collins. Anyway, thank you very much. I totally appreciate it. And thank you for coming right from one show to another. I know you've been sitting in that chair a long time. And this is what a professional does. He changed his shirt.
I did.
All right.
To a shitty game.
Yes. So do not go and look at the video that I just dropped, because I did not change my shirt. Normally I would have, but
you filthy animal.
But again, I appreciate it. Had a blast, and we need to do some more of this, because you were easy to talk to.
Oh, good. I'm down, man.
Yeah, you're not too serious, so
no.
But we're gonna get out of here. Thank you very much. Check out Toy Games on Monday and Thursday, only till 9 p.m. Stay the whole time. Check out his reviews, and If you're not following him on Instagram and on YouTube, in the description are links. Toy Gaines. It's weird saying that to you. Angelo.
There you go. Hey.
Some people, Gaines is one thing. Toy Gaines sounds weird. I know everyone calls me Punk now. I'm like,
Yeah. Punk and Gaines has a good ring to it.
yeah. All right. I just got to figure out how to say goodbye here and take care.